Hello. Oh,
Hi
no, now
everyone.
we're live.
No, we are live. We were already live. Were
Oh,
we
okay.
live? Okay.
Well, I got the notification late, and I hope it was later because I look very cringe. So,
No, it's okay. Hi everyone. Let us know how the audio is. I see Music Guy. I see D. I see Christopher. I see Secular Rarity. Oh, we have. Oh, I see Ghost Penny saying hello, loves. I see Kiki. Um, I see Two Face. Okay. Audio's Secular Rarity is confirming that audio is good. Cool. All right,
I like
so we're
this.
gonna
I
be
like this pun from Christopher. Looks like I'm coming here religiously.
All right, we're gonna be covering the news on secularism, atheism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism. Seems like we have a lot of Hinduism today as well, right? So there's that. And also maybe sometimes a little bit of politics and culture, but mostly just religion and atheism, right? So we're going to be covering the news and also giving our opinions on it. And also, by the way, you guys don't understand how much Susanna puts an effort into researching the background behind a lot of these stories and making sure they're accurate and seeing the commentary on it before we come here and talk about it. I think like you provide a service here that I don't see anywhere else. Like, so that's pretty good, especially on some of
Oh,
these
thank
news.
you.
Yeah, some of these news items that don't get discussed in the way that we're discussing it here. So make sure you like the video for that, okay? Because Susanna puts a lot of effort. Like this first news that we're covering, Susanna spent like 2 hours just researching it,
On
okay?
this one
And
story.
on just one story, okay? So you guys better like the video, okay? Because it doesn't it costs you 30 seconds, you know, to help us grow the channel,
Well,
right?
and
For all the work that we
also,
put in.
please like the video because we talk about controversial subjects that YouTube doesn't
Mm,
like, and so we don't get shown to other people that often, even people who
mhm,
subscribe to our own channel. So
mm.
yeah,
Yes.
it's disappointing.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
Please do
sweet.
that. Yeah.
Oxymoron is our Hindufa local Hindufa person, and even
Okay.
he can say yes, you do put effort in the news.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you. And Kiki is also liking the video, so thank you guys for that. Guys, it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us grow the channel. So please make sure we're not gonna start unless you like you specifically you. If you don't like right now, we're not gonna start. Okay, good. Okay, we can start now. All right, hold on. Let me share the screen and make sure to mute the audio so that we don't get echo. All right, can we clap for the next? No, we can't. Obviously not. We talked
I
about this
I
first
don't
news.
think so. So
No, we
here's the problem with
cannot.
the first news is that it uses the S word in it. We're gonna have to talk about it. It's already in the title.
Let's talk about it.
YouTube
Let's like
hates that word.
guys, make sure again you like because we're gonna use big words that YouTube is gonna hate, and therefore, like, we're not gonna get a strike or anything, but we just get deprioritized when we use these controversial words. Okay, so to fight back against the algorithms, suppressing our videos, you need to like the video. Okay. All right. So first news.
First news: Indian girl alleges forced Christian conversion drove her to suicide. On January 19th, Lavanya, no, I'm not sure how to Lavanya. Okay. A 17-year-old girl from Tamil Nadu died from her suicide attempt. According to local BJP politicians, her decision to end her life came after an alleged forced conversion to Christianity. Lavanya was a grade 10 student at the Sacred Heart Higher Secondary School. An unverified video shows Lavanya on her deathbed claiming she was abused and forced to clean all the rooms in the St. Michael's girls' home where she was staying. She also mentioned in the video that she was told that if she converted to Christianity, then all of her educational expenses will be taken care of. There are multiple angles that complicate this narrative. Lavanya had previously given a testimony to authorities before her death, which did not mention conversion and instead emphasized being forced into menial labor. There were also reports that she was physically abused by her stepmother and thus preferred life at the girls' school. Finally, it has been revealed that there are other videos taken before her death in which she denies ever being forced to remove her bindi or other Hindu religious symbols. So,
Wait.
I did say class 12. I don't know what this person. Anyways,
she did commit suicide? Like
she
she's
did
dead?
commit suicide, but then this is blown up into a huge story, and it's a fight over what her reasons for attempting suicide was.
So when it says the Indian girl alleges, she alleged these things. She talked about her suicide before she committed suicide?
So what happened was that she had ingested pesticides about 9 to 10 days before she actually died.
And
So
then
she
she
was
talked
in the
about it.
hospital for her injuries,
Oh my God.
basically. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which are absolutely brutal, and I don't want to get into that. And so there was time before she actually died to get statements from her. And what's complicating the matter is that before her death, there were statements given to magistrates, or FIRs, first information reports, that were taken where she says that, so she went to a Catholic girls' school and she was from a village. And she stayed at a hostel or a girls' home that was associated with the Catholic school. And in the statement that she gave to the authorities, she emphasized, like I said, that she was forced to do menial labor, like cleaning the home, cleaning toilets, as well as doing like the books or accounting for them. And that this caused her to fall behind in her studies. And and then this was part of the reason that inspired her suicide attempt, and the reasons behind her taking her life. There was also a statement taken by the police from her parents and her father and stepmother before her death, and all of the statements taken before her death didn't mention anything about forced conversion. There was no mention of conversion. Then 24 hours after she'd actually died, there was this video that was leaked and posted, and it really blew up when this local chief of the BJP posted it to his Twitter. And in this video that was leaked, she's talking about how 2 years prior, the nuns had told her family that if she converted, that they would pay for her expenses and that she would just generally get ahead in life, and all this stuff. So that in this video, all of a sudden she was talking about forced conversion. And I'm not able to actually understand what she was saying there because I only know English, right? But I did read some transcripts of the video, and obviously I don't have the ability to actually understand it and see for myself. Just full disclosure. So these transcripts were talking about how the person who, at the time unidentified, who was filming this video that suddenly emerged, seemed to be asking her a lot of very leading questions and wanted to get her to identify one of the nuns in particular, and seemed like continued to ask her about her specifically. And this girl is in kind of an incoherent state, and some of her answers apparently aren't even very clear to understand, but she seemingly names that nun, and that's when she talks about being like kind of having incentivized to convert 2 years prior. Now the issue has surrounded this video. So because this statement was not submitted to the police before her death, there's a lot of contention right now over if this can actually be submitted as evidence to the court. And in the days since, it has now been revealed who took that video. And who took that video, and the person talking to her in the video, is a local VHP leader. So for those who don't know, the VHP is a Hindu nationalist organization that's very active around the country. And so this is turned into a huge issue. It's become heavily politicized. there are independent investigations into this incident to see what's happened. And the Department of Education has released initial statements or investigations saying that they have no reason to believe that they are ruling out a forced conversion as the reason for this. Part of the reason why they list that they don't think that this was a forced conversion is that there's been 16 like standard investigations at the school and found nothing of the sort. The students are majority Hindu at the school, and there are some school administrators who say that because they know that the majority of their students are actually non-Christians, they actually don't, according to them, give Christian speeches that much. But of course, to me, I'm saying, well, just because your student population is majority Hindu, that doesn't mean necessarily, like, one does not equate the other. Just because you have majority Hindus, that doesn't mean that you're not trying to convert people, I was reading this one report about how a lot of people think that what is one of the reasons why this became such a political sticking point is because the BJP local chief minister who tweeted out this video originally is kind of seen as like the laughing stock in the area, and he's just generally known as politically impotent and a flop. So there were people saying that he was just trying to gain political clout. Again, that's one angle for what it's worth. And now it's become a huge issue with the government of Tamil Nadu, like the state government itself, versus the national body that's for the protection of children's rights. They issued this this committee on children's rights issued this statement about how the government of Tamil Nadu is refusing to work with them. But then on the other token, people are saying, well, the reason why the government of Tamil Nadu refused to work with them in terms of their committee's special investigation into this is because that they were demanding that this man who used to work for the committee but is now a private citizen and is affiliated with RSS, they were demanding that he is a member of this committee or an investigation. And the government is saying, we're not going to allow a private citizen to hold that kind of position within this inquiry. So there's so much back and forth. And then we get into the level of there was, now it's coming forth all these issues that she was having at home. So it's been revealed that previously she's called basically like a child protective services hotline on her stepmother. I've read reports that apparently she was abused by her stepmother because she has vitiligo. For those who don't know, it's a skin condition where parts of your skin is lighter than the others, and sometimes it spreads and becomes splotchy. So apparently she would like burn her, and the grandmother of this girl reported that she was aware of these incidents, and what else? Yeah, so there was this issue surrounding her abuse that she was facing at home, fact that there are previous reports on this, and authorities went to go investigate this at the time. But when they showed up, the girl was always accompanied with her stepmother, and suddenly she would deny that anything was happening. And that due to this, there are reports that she actually preferred life at this girls' hostel that was associated with the school. And that oftentimes when other students would go home to their families for a break, that she would choose to stay back at the school. And that some people are saying that she ingested this poison at the time that she did because she was having to go back home to her family for a holiday break, and that she didn't want to do that. But now it's turned into a huge political issue where the BJP are accusing, all the other parties of basically just doing anything to try to get the minority vote and abandoning, their girls, that kind of thing. Did that make more sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Kiki thinks this is whole. Do you want to read this one?
RSS/BJP has politicized this case into oblivion, but now new details have emerged. I have doubts over her stepmother. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by this. Like, do you doubt the involvement of her stepmother? Do you? Yeah, I need a little bit more clarity about what you mean.
Here.
Oh, Kiki is saying, almost forgot to tell you, RSS/VHP/BJP goons tried to go to that town and incite communal violence over this death. The villagers promptly reported them to the police. There's been a huge like, everyone is upset with the police in this case. There's a special investigation that's specifically going on into this case. There have been calls from BJP leaders to remove the superintendent of police that's involved with this matter, because he said that this isn't a forced conversion situation, and so they're trying to get him sacked. There's so much going on in this situation. But what's interesting, though, is, okay, so I spend a lot of time looking into this story today. And what I find most credible about this story so far are claims that she was forced to do menial labor within this institution. Um, Out of all the claims that are being made about this, if I am inclined to believe that that holds the most credence. Out of everything I've read, that seems the most consistent. And also, the warden of this hostel for girls has actually been arrested because of these accusations. And she was arrested because that was named originally in the original statements made to the police before her death. And the statement that was made to the police before her death is seen as her last declaration versus this one that emerged after the fact. And what was really revealing is somehow, here's where people are saying that the police leaked they're saying that the police leaked this footage. I don't know. So when it was discovered, that identified that the person who recorded these videos of her was this VHP leader, apparently there was not one but 4 videos that he recorded with her, according to a report that I read from a source that I find consistently credible and thorough in their writing. And amongst these 4 videos, there's only one of the 4 videos where she talks about conversion. Amongst the other ones, again, she's mostly emphasizing having to do this menial labor. And 2, there was a third or fourth video that I mentioned where she actively denies any attempt to make her remove a bindi or other, like I said, religious symbols, when repeatedly asked, do they make you do this? And she repeatedly denies it.
All right. It seems like people don't really care about the girl that much. I think this is a case of, it seems to be a case of tribalism, of pro-Hindu and anti-Hindu people just deciding what happened based on the tribe that they belong to, right? It seems like cases like this in India turns into just like, you don't, whatever the evidence shows, you just pick the side based on what helps your narrative, right? So if you're like anti-Hindu or anti-Hindutva or whatever you want to call it, I don't know which one to go with anymore, then like, oh, this is like made up, there was no forced conversion, this is just like Hindus trying to get at Abrahamic religions and exaggerating what happened. This was like probably the stepmother, and the stepmother is just using the forced conversion as a way to get out of her responsibility. But if you're pro-Hindu and you're Hindutva, like, it seems like this is what's happening, right? Then obviously this was a case of forced conversion, and this shows the evil of the Christian church inside of India, and that's the narrative you're going to pick, right? So I think this is hugely like, and at the end of the day, what actually doesn't matter is the truth, because who gives a crap about that? You just have to figure out which side you're on based on your allegiances, right? And I think this is what Blank Name is saying as well here. Blank Name is saying what is sad is that nobody seems to care about the girl who committed the suicide. It is interest group using her death for their own benefit. Exactly. I think that's what's happening. Somebody is mentioning that OP India has written an important article. I don't trust OP India for a second. Right? Like, this is the most biased source of information that you could find.
I
It's like
actually
OP.
do go read right wing
Yeah.
sources on a lot of these stories,
Wait.
and
I
they
was gonna
mainly.
say
Sorry.
I wasn't finished, right? So I don't know. So I'm not like, when I say I don't trust OP India, I'm not saying that we shouldn't go read them. In fact, like, the fact that it is a biased source makes us do want to go check them out just to see what the biased narrative is, right? So just because the source is biased, that doesn't mean that we should completely dismiss it. Yeah, go on. What do you say?
Well, what was interesting was when I was reading more right leaning sources, a lot of them emphasized and seemed fixated more on like media analysis, condemning the way that the media is like forcibly secularizing this event, and comparing their reaction to this case, mainly in their eyes, being, ignorant silence versus their outrage in other cases. Which I thought was interesting, but I didn't um, find any new information that I found particularly enlightening. So, like I said, what's so unfortunate is that this incident is being used politically so severely, and I am most inclined to believe that either one, it was an issue with menial labor at the school, or failing that, it was an issue at home. Um, and I'm particularly compelled to say that because the local government bodies, multiple of them, have said this is an forced conversion angle.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get some comments here. So, like, this person, for example, is constantly swearing at Kiki because Kiki is suggesting that it was the stepmother that was more involved, and this guy was like swearing at Kiki. And I think this person is like on the Hindu side. Seems like he's like, basically, he's saying she died because of the Christian conversion agenda. Period. Like, again, like, this is a person that is so certain, just so certain about, like, I don't know how you have all this. How could you be so certain about something so complicated? But that, like, are you part of the investigation? Have you like how? But you can see how tribal people are about, like, the way that they come up with their conclusions, right? Somebody saying constantly is trying to okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I saw it. Like, I see you mentioned this like a million times, but thank you. You're saying you're a big fan from India.
We love
Well,
our
thank you
fans
for your
from
support.
India.
We do.
Some of our
Okay.
haters are nice too.
Some of our haters are nice too. Yes, BJP doesn't want this to be a national issue because they are trying to win Zions in, what is this,
Christians.
GOA?
Christians
No, I
and
know what
Goa.
Zions are. Oh, in Goa.
Christians.
Okay.
That's an
Christians.
abbreviation
Okay.
for Christians.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know it. Okay, why can't you just write Christians? Is that hard to write? Like, is that how much time did you save by writing X? Okay. All right. So this guy is the same guy is saying the whole of South Tamil Nadu has been taken over by the church conversion agenda. Yeah, I feel like you guys, like, people like you are taking a problem that is a thing and you guys are exaggerating it, right? Like, this is how conspiracy theories are born. Something is a problem, but I think you guys exaggerate what's going on. Ghostman is saying it sounds like the abuse may be bigger factor in her suicide than forced conversion. You just have to have a heavy dose of skepticism. Just tell people what we know, and not we don't really know. Okay, it's hard to come up with the definite conclusions, right? Look at this person. Look at this. This guy is like so invested in the narrative, that this must have, like, the suicide is definitely because of the forced conversion. Like, you're an idiot, Kiki. I challenge you on an IQ test. We'll see who tops. Like, look how invested. Like, guys, look at what tribalism. This Ragsy boy. Look, this is your mind on tribalism. You're so invested in accepting everything that makes your enemies look bad and your side looks good, that this is how you react to somebody who disagrees with your conclusion. Okay, you're challenging people to IQ tests because they're looking at a news item and they're coming up with a different conclusion than what your narrative is. Like, no, this anybody that comes up with the conclusion that this is maybe the stepmother is more of an influence in the suicide rather than the forced conversion, they're like this. Oh my god, you guys are. This is
Well,
insane.
I like the idea of an IQ test duel. Like, I'm gonna duel you on IQ. I like that idea.
over this news. Like think about, like, we're talking about a girl's suicide, okay? And people are like don't care about the girl, just care about like who could they frame over this, and they're challenging each other over IQ tests because of like oh my god. All right, so by the way, this thing, you're saying BJP owns the media. Depends on what you mean by the media, right? If you're talking about the news media, yes, that's like overly taken over by the Hindu nationalists, right, in India. But if you by media you mean Bollywood, that's more leftists, right, in India. And that's what the BJP is trying to now dominate, right, because they see it as like a very powerful force. But the Bollywood is also part of media, and that's not been taken over by BJP. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the final things I want to say is like, I tried really hard to get all the different angles of this case. The way it developed over time, like over the past week alone, is quite complicated. So I tried to present this in the best totalistic but as concise as possible. And I'm also not certain when it comes to this. When I would go look at one source and one story and compare it to another, I continually had more questions and not enough answers. So I'm not staking my claim on any one position here. There's has to be a lot more investigation that goes into this matter. But regardless of what the truth is, I think everyone can agree that this is being used for political expediency. And finally, if this actually is a case of legitimate forced conversion, um, that's really sad. And that does need to be addressed because no one should be abused or disincentivized from their education because of their faith. So,
okay, the one last comment. This is so funny. I mean, actually, no, it's not funny. But anyways, this so Hindutva is saying, Hindus, please teach your kids about the evil Abrahamic cult. Make them aware about conversion and love jihad. Mostly talk to your girl kid regularly. This is the atmosphere that is being created in India, right? Everybody is turning on each other, right? Everybody is now like becoming suspicious of each other. Like, this is like, if this continues, like, the guy is like, I don't want to do the slippery slope fallacy. Okay, so I'm not saying this is
I think
likely,
you're being
but
a little bit hyperbolic. I don't think this is everyone. I don't think this is everywhere because my experiences or what
well,
my friends
you're
tell
putting
me is
words in my mouth.
no,
You're
you
putting words in my.
used absolutist language.
No, I said like there's a trend. Okay, there's a trend that is growing in India. Okay, so it hasn't taken over. Okay, but people are. That's why I stopped and I said I don't want to do a slippery slope fallacy. I don't want to say this is going to lead into like an internal civil war or something. Okay, but even if there's a low chance of it growing to that extent, even if there's a 1% chance, that's 1% too many. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have seen in history, again, I don't want to say because we have seen in history, therefore it's going to happen here exactly the same way. It might not, okay? But given how many times language like this has turned into very devastating internal conflict, okay? You have to be worried, okay? I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, okay? It's even very, but we had you can't blame me for like worry about this. We had genocide experts were giving us this warning, okay, that what's happening in India could lead into like an internal civil war, right? We saw this happening in Rwanda, right? We saw this happening in former Czechoslovakia, right? We saw this happening in Germany, right? But this otherizing people, like everybody looking at, everybody Abrahamic, like you're taking stories like this, and now they, Hindutva, you're generalizing an entire group of people, okay? And then in return, they're going to be fearing Hindus, okay? Again, we're not generalizing, but if the Abrahamic people in India have bad experiences with some Hindus, they're going to be generalizing all of Hindus, and they're going to constantly be suspicious of all of Hindus and worried about getting targeted by all of Hindus, right? And in the same way, a lot of Hindus, even though they're not all of Hindus, when they are looking at the actions of some Christians and some Muslims and otherizing all people from Abrahamic religions as potentially toxic, right? Especially when it comes to, they're mixing two tools that is used usually in making people more tribal, is like they're coming after our children and they're coming after our women. Okay, this is cultish. Like Hindu, so you're calling Abrahamic people evil Abrahamic cults, but you're using cultish tactics in making people worried about this evil other, right? So especially when you mix it to both of them together by saying female children, you know what I mean? Like both women and children, the language that almost all far right leaning groups use as a way to create fear of this evil enemy, right? Coming after our children, right? And again, you're referring to things like love jihad, which is an absolute proven conspiracy theory that is like, if you believe that that's happening, you have lost your mind, okay? Like everything, like, and these are the same people that are like, oh, I have done my research, If you have come to the conclusion that love jihad is a thing, right? Anything other than a method to demonize the entire Muslim population in India, then you have fallen in, like you have lost the ability to objectively analyze what's going on in India, in your own country, right? So you're being used. You're being used by this hate mob, and you're part of, you're just a tool for politicians to constantly use hate as a way for them to increase their relevancy and their power. You're a small little insignificant pathetic little tool in people more powerful than you for their own gains, and you're being used and you don't even know it, and you're spreading hate. Okay, imagine like dying and your contribution to the world has been spreading more hate, turning people against each other. That has been and to no benefit of your own. You made the world a worse place just to make some politicians power stay in power longer. That's what your legacy is going to be. Like, be worried about the contributions you're making to this world. Do you want to be that? And it's amazing that you're calling other people evil where you're being used, you're becoming a tool for evil. Anyways, that's my rant.
Damn.
Good
rant. Quickly, Bengali Hindu was saying many ordinary Hindus have gotten shifted towards the extreme right because of these random abusings of Hindus by the left. What I will say is that it is very important. I agree how the left does handle these issues, because as someone who is on the left, I'd want to see the efforts of the left succeed. But the leftist tendency to ignore the concerns of the quote-unquote majority can be a huge disservice to what they want to accomplish politically. And Blank Name is saying, in response to what Armin was saying, in Bangladesh, Islamist fascists also use the exact same language against Hindu minority. It goes to show how similar they are in their hate. So
they're the mirror image of each other. It's amazing. At least in their propaganda tactics, at least in that regards, they're mirror images of each other. Yeah. Oh,
and
thank you.
Ego was saying very wise words. Thank you for being a voice of reason.
No, thank you. Thank you. Also, Ego FTCP gave us a $50 super chat on the Persian channel last night. So thank you for that. You're muted. Did you say?
I said that's so nice.
Yeah, thank you so much because we're not monetized here, but we're monetized so there. So thank you for that. All right. Okay. let's go to, and also thank you so much, Susanna, for like all this detail. Like, holy crap. Like, I can, guys, I don't trust, I, I trust Susanna over anything, any news we're getting from biased people from India telling us, like, yeah, Susanna is like the unbiased source that is like looking at this as objectively as she can. So thank you for that, Susanna.
Well, thank you. I especially covering this news. This is such a I don't even like such a fiery crucible. I was like, I gotta make sure I know all the angles on this one.
Yeah. All right, going after Abrahamic religions apparently. So
Yes.
people who think that we're like shilling for Christianity.
Wait until you hear Armin go off on this one.
All right. So can we clap for the next news? Is it did anybody die? Oh, sex abuse. We can't clap.
Yeah, we can't.
Okay. Next news.
Next news. Former Pope admits to giving false statements in sex abuse investigation. In the Vatican. Former Pope Benedict XVI has admitted to giving a false statement in a child sex abuse investigation. He initially denied that he was present at a 1980 meeting in Munich during his tenure as the Archbishop of that diocese. German police acquired documents proving that he was indeed at said meeting, at which point he admitted he had attended, calling the inaccuracy of his previous statement a quote-unquote oversight. The admission came 4 days after a report was released on abuse in the Archdiocese from 1945 to 2019, which said that the former Cardinal Joseph, or it would be Joseph Ratzinger, which was Pope Benedict's original name, failed to take action against clerics in 4 cases of alleged abuse while he was the Archbishop between 1977 and 1982. One case involved an approval from Ratzinger in 1980 of a priest to be transferred to Munich for therapy. The priest was then allowed to return to pastoral work. That same priest was found guilty of molesting another child 6 years later. Martin Pusch, a lawyer at Westfalen Splicker Walz, German man, oh my God, said during the press conference, quote, during Ratzinger's time in office, there were abuse cases happening. In those cases, those priests continued their work without sanctions. The church did not do anything, end quote.
Wait, so how come, like, wouldn't other people get arrested for stuff like this? Like, how does this work?
So, well, interesting question. Prosecuting people involved in the Vatican or particularly living within Vatican premises is very difficult internationally. But let me give some of the background. So about 2 years ago, the Archdiocese of Munich commissioned an independent report into their diocese after in 2008 or 2010, there was a massive scandal about the depth of abuse going on within the German Catholic Church at large. And this investigation, again conducted by an independent service, found, and let me emphasize, I didn't realize this at first. This is a single archdiocese of Germany, not all of Germany, a single archdiocese. That between 1945 and 2019, there were almost 400 instances of abuse that have happened, and they believe that that number is likely much larger due to the lack of reporting. And it exposed how there was many instances where it was fully known and understood that the church, that some of these people were abusers, that there were reports or accusations against them, and they allowed them to continue having an active role within the church. And some of these people were even faced like criminal proceedings and prosecutions, and they were still allowed to have an active role. It became particularly bad when they would refer priests to quote unquote therapy and then let them continue. But then years later, they would go on to hurt other people again. And in terms of this issue with about his like this meeting that Pope Benedict attended, so the Vatican or his representatives were saying that, oh, well, the way that it was reported previously, where he denies that he was at this meeting, this was actually like a clerical error. This was like a mistake. It wasn't bad faith. We weren't trying to cover up anything. This was a misreporting in the editing of this report. He didn't actually try to lie and cover up stuff, but it's not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that this is such an important document for them to put out. You know what I mean? Like I bet like they double, triple check everything, and their main priority is to just protect themselves, right? I don't think like where did this happen? Like he was like this is happening within
Germany,
the Vatican,
specifically
right?
Munich. Again, this is only the Archdiocese of Munich.
No, but when it says like admits to giving false statements, former Pope, was he in Germany when he did that?
Yeah, he was the Archbishop of Munich.
Okay,
so for 5 years.
So he can get protected. Like so at that time, wouldn't Germany's laws apply to him? Where is he right now? He's still in the Vatican right now, right?
Yeah,
like that's where he lives.
I mean, they have to deal with statute of limitations.
Shouldn't there be an arrest warrant for them? Like just to like investigate this? Shouldn't like Interpol be involved? Like I don't know how this works. Like why is this like wouldn't like I don't know. Okay, I'm asking. Okay, but I'm assuming like if there was a major cover up by another entity, like another organization, right? Like let's say like a car manufacturing company. Like let's say that there was some safety issues and they figured it out, but they were trying to cover it up for the information to come out. I think like there would be like some warrants for some arrests or something like that. Like there would be court dates, right? Am I wrong?
I will say,
am I like?
No,
Yeah.
I think you're totally justified in believing that. Unfortunately things aren't that easy. Yeah. There's been many attempts to try to use international law to prosecute people who were abusers or allowed abuse in the church, and thus far in Europe they haven't been successful. And it's gone all the way to the like the Supreme Court of Europe or whatever the highest body for the EU is. But I can say that is good news is that German authorities are they have said that they are going to prosecute because there are many people who are revealed in this report and their involvement or what they did or what they didn't do. And the German authorities are saying many of these people are still alive and we are going to investigate and pursue prosecution towards them. So it won't be towards the Pope specifically, but it will be towards many other people who are exposed in this independent inquiry.
Why can't it be against the Pope specifically? Why can't we target the ex-Pope?
Well, first of all, like I said, it's very difficult to prosecute the Vatican internationally.
But he was in Germany when he did that. He was in Germany.
I know, but we have a statute of limitations too. I'm no lawyer, but all I know is people have tried in the highest bodies of the land or the continent have rejected them. That case is a little bit different.
Mustafa, I love you. Well, but I completely disagree with this. Okay, like he's rich and he's white. Enough said. Bullshit. There's a whole bunch of rich white people in prison right now, very rich and very white people that are rotting in prison right now because of cover up of crimes. So I don't think if the Pope was black, he would be like, shit, I'm in trouble right now because I'm black. I think him being an ex-pope has more to do with this right now than his color of skin. I think I think the Vatican would be as effective at covering a black ex-pope as a white one. So there you go.
Yeah. What I think was really interesting was so there the former pope has released some statements on this, and many people have found them to be lacking. So there was even heavily criticized by Father Hans Zollner. So he's in Germany, and he's a member of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors, which was created by Pope Francis, as well as the Safeguarding Institute at the Pontification Gregorian University in Rome. And he was going off on Pope Benedict for his response. So here's a quote from Religious News Service. The Emeritus Pope is expected to release a comment on the report in the coming days, but in the meantime, he voiced his closeness to his former diocese and its faithful, as well as his, quote, shame and pain at the suffering inflicted on the victims. For his part, Zollner feels that there are portions of Benedict's response that, quote, that are simply not consistent with Ratzinger's other writings. For example, he pointed to one section in which it suggests a priest accused of masturbating in front of a young girl did not constitute abuse since there was no touching. This is completely off, Zollner said, pointing to the work of Ratzinger when he was the head of the Vatican's Congregation of Doctrine, which also oversees cases of clergy abuse worldwide. He said, the response was probably only signed by Ratzinger, but written by a team of legal experts, he added, but that's part of the problem. There's been a lot of people who also came forward to defend the Pope because during his tenure, he made some changes to canonical law and in terms of like how these things are handled within the organization jurisdictionally that really changed a lot of things and it means to address the abuse. Because he believed that there was a demonstrated failure of the archbishops to handle it as well as they should. And so it was really bringing it under the jurisdiction of the Pope, so to speak, at the same time that office was really failing to tackle the problem. Like, one thing I was hit with when I was doing the research for the story was I've kind of grown up in a generation where it's been well understood that this is a huge problem in the Catholic Church. Like, I feel like maybe a generation before me, like this bombshell was a lot more shocking, and now it's just kind of expected and accepted. But even just reading this and just doing research for this one story, I was immediately hit with how much there is, how deep it goes. It's crazy. Every time we cover a story like this, I'm all over the world, everywhere. It's incessant. It's innumerable. I'm like, how is this not? It reminds me of what Armin says. I was like, how have they not shut down this whole thing? It's crazy.
Yeah, I think if it was any other, this is religious privilege. If it was any other organization, there would be a lot more people in handcuffs right now. Yeah. Ego is asking. Oh, we decided to call Ego what? You gave
Erica?
her name, Erica. Erica is saying, is it possibly an issue of diplomatic immunity since the Vatican is considered a country? I mean, he did this in Germany. Is it?
When you're trying to sue the Catholic Church, all of a sudden the Catholic Church status as a sovereign state gets brought into the picture. So it depends on who you're issuing the suit against. If you're trying to issue it against the Catholic Church at large, things becomes difficult because all of a sudden it's like Pokemon evolve. Like, now I'm a country, and then how do you go after an entire sovereign state?
This is why we're trying to find a small piece of land somewhere, okay? And then maybe do a fundraising and buy it. It could be just like very small, okay? It could just fit like one house on it, okay? But then we buy that, and then we claim it to be an Atheist Republic, right? And then we try to get independence or whatever, and just like become a sovereign nation, file something at the UN. I looked into this. It's pretty easy, right? And then we could just do illegal stuff, and then nobody can do anything because I'll just make myself a senator, right? We'll make Susanna like a president or something, and then we could do illegal stuff, and then we have diplomatic immunity because we're a sovereign country.
YouTube, we are not promoting illegal activity. That is a joke.
It wouldn't be legal because we're our own country.
We could go establish it in that little area of the Sahel that no country wants to claim because it's so desolate.
Yeah,
They're
we
just
don't
like,
even have to be there. We just don't have to even be there, right? We just have to be like, that's. By the way, yeah, we are joking though. We're not gonna use this stuff for illegal activity, okay? Because that would like be bad for Atheist Republic. Okay, so we're not gonna do that. But we could, okay? Okay, so if we did try to do illegal stuff, we would do illegal stuff not like the church, okay? We wouldn't be abusing children. We do illegal stuff that shouldn't be illegal, right? For example, blasphemy, right? Like
true.
that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Somebody
Everyone is
saying
pointing out to
Susanna.
me that Ego is a man. I don't know. I really like
We do,
Erica, though. That's a good name.
ego is Erica regardless, okay? Stop being
Uh,
sexist.
get into it, Ego. You're a woman now. Secular Rarity is saying, that's small time thinking, Armin. I brought a spot on the moon years ago.
Okay. Oh yeah, we could wait. If we get a place on the moon, if we buy a place on the moon, can we use that as a way to declare ourselves as a country?
I think technically we have to be in terrestrial jurisdiction.
No, but you can't get a UN seat. That's what we need. We need a UN seat. I don't know if a spot on the moon will get you a UN seat. People are saying too cold. You don't have to live there. We just have there's some certain conditions. Like I looked at the list of what makes you UN would recognize you as a country. Okay, and having a piece of land is one of them, but living there is not. Okay, you just need to have you need a anthem. You need like a constitution or like a declaration. You need people, which would be you guys, right? Actually the list is not that very hard to achieve. Okay, you just the hardest difficult part is a land that nobody is declaring as a country. Okay, that's the most difficult part. Technically it doesn't mention a land on earth, it just says land. So maybe that's a legal loophole that we could use.
Wait a
Does it have
minute,
to be?
guys.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
taking Atheist Republic to the moon.
No. All right, okay. All right, can we clap for the next news? Is there anything in the live chat you want to highlight?
No.
No, okay. So can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Okay, next news.
Next news. Former hostage hunger strikes to push for release of hostages held by Iran. On January 16th, Barry Rosen, a former U.S. diplomat who was among the 52 Americans who were held hostage from 1979 to 1981 after the attack on the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, announced his plan to conduct a hunger strike. The hunger strike coincides with the 41-year anniversary of his release from captivity. To conduct his protest, the 77-year-old flew to Vienna, Austria, where the Iranian nuclear deal negotiations are being held. He stated, quote, "My message is simple. No deal with Iran unless the hostages are free," referring to the many foreigners and Iranian dual nationals that are falsely charged with espionage and imprisoned by Iran to be used by the regime as political bargaining chips on the world stage while their health deteriorates. Rosen ended his 5-day hunger strike. Rosen ended his hunger strike after 5 days on January 23rd upon the insistence of his family and the United States Special Envoy to Iran. Others took up the hunger strike on his behalf, including 2 hostages currently imprisoned by the Iranian regime. Anousheh Anshuri and Kamran Gaderi.
Yeah, so people know about the hostage situation right after, like, closely after the Islamic Revolution in Iran, right? So the embassy was taken over by a bunch of students, okay? And yeah, led by this woman called Masume Ebtekar. I think she changed her name now, but now she's like a high official in Iran. and he claims that she was very abusive to him when he was a. So this man was one of the staff at the embassy that was taken hostage by the students, right? By the way, the embassy of Iran being taken hostage was not a plan by Khomeini or the people that were in charge at that point, right? The students took over the embassy, and Khomeini decided, like, okay, I approve. Like, that was like a thing that happened after, and it's possible that Iran and United States had a very friendly, like, could have had like a relationship right now with each other if this hostage, if the embassy was never taken over, right? Like, it wasn't necessarily going to be like completely aggressive against the United States, but because they decided, like, okay, I guess like there's the popular support for taking over the embassy, and we could want to take this seems to be in our favor, like if we like invest in this, like lean into it basically, right, and just use it as a propaganda. And now like all the all the all the economic devastation that not all of it, well, most of the economic devastation that Iran is experiencing today is because of this stupid like this Masume Abtekar and the other students who like decided to attack the embassy. Like, Iran could have had like a international relationship and economic trade with the whole world right now if this embassy takeover never happened, right, in 1979. But like, yeah, I never wondered like what happened to those hostages, right? Like, I never like looked up to see where these people are at. But now, well, here's one of them, and like I was listening to his interview with Masih Ali-Najad. He speaks Persian.
Yeah,
Like, how did
it's
he
rusty,
speaks,
but you can tell he understands.
yeah, and he speaks it. It was like, and he's proud of it too, right? And he's like, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, if you're held captive in Iran for over a year, you better hope you can understand what's going on. I mean, he was
I
also
mean,
like a
it was,
diplomat, so you're more
yeah.
there. They
I
send
mean, he was
people
in
who can.
Iran before he was taken hostage. Like, I'm like, so, and he didn't forget, and he cares about. He seems like to care about Iran enough, even though he was like taken hostage there. Like, this is a really bad experience. He had really bad experience in Iran, but he's like now going on hunger strike for the people of Iran. Is like, yeah. I mean, by the way, like, it's so insane. Like, I don't know if people understand. Like, the Islamic Republic of Iran, like, openly just takes people hostage as negotiation tactics, right?
Like
Like, imagine
openly.
openly.
When
Imagine
your
if like,
presidential candidates are proposing that as an economic strategy, you've flown the
yeah,
coop.
yeah. There was one. Yeah, you're right. There was one of the presidential candidates who was like, "Hey, we could solve all the economic problems in Iran by just taking this many Americans hostage and just asking for money." They're like, "That will solve all our problems." They're like, this was a serious suggestion by one of the presidential candidates.
In a
It's
presidential
unbelievable.
debate.
Yeah, in a presidential well, I mean, no, in a presidential debate, his opponent brought it up as a way to embarrass him. He didn't bring it up.
But, oh no, but then he owned it. He's like, well,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, here.
I'm a soldier. I'm trained to
Yeah.
think the way a soldier
Like,
thinks, and this is what we got to do. I was like, holy fuck.
yeah, he doubled down.
God
But
damn it.
guys, by the way, the hostages that they take are dual citizens, right? The
Not
hostages that they're
always.
taking, yeah, but a lot of them are dual citizens, meaning like, and Susanna, I don't think you know this. Some of them are pro-regime. I mean, until they were taken hostage, like, they don't even discriminate. They're like, sorry, I know you like us, but you have a U.S. citizenship, and we need you as and we need you. Like, imagine if you're a dual citizen of United States and Iran, and you're also pro-regime, and they're like taking you, like, oh, you're an Israeli spy. We're gonna arrest you, and you're like, guys, what? I'm one of
I'm
you.
one of
Like,
you.
one of you. What are you doing to me? But they don't discriminate. They're like, your U.S. citizenship is so valuable to us. We're gonna take you hostage, right? It's unbelievable. Like, and it shows how little they value their own citizens, right? Because they know that United States values its citizens, or UK or United States or these other countries, they value their citizens so that these people could be used as negotiation tactics. And they know how little they care about the fact that these are Iranian citizens, because they arrest them not caring about them, knowing that those other people care for them. Even if they're pro-regime, they care for them enough because they're American citizens to fight for them. It's unbelievable. It's insane. I mean, imagine if somebody was like, right now, United States is in conflict with Russia. Okay, imagine somebody who had the dual citizenship of was an American and Russian, right? Dual citizenship of United States and Russia, right? And United States was like, we're just gonna arrest you, and like, you're on American soil, we're gonna arrest you as a negotiation tactic against Putin, right? Well, like, that's what the Islamic Republic of Iran does openly so many times, right? Um, and this is the country, like, this is the regime that we're dealing with. And imagine the people who are defending the Islamic Republic of Iran against the United States as if this is a normal country where it takes its own citizens hostage against other regimes. Like, unbelievable.
Oh my God, it makes me think of that Mohammed Morandi guy who's the shill that's always on Al Jazeera in like the gray zone. And he's always talking about how Iran clearly has the moral upper hand, like clearly has the moral superiority. It just makes, and then I think of this stuff, it makes me want to rip my hair out. But I would really like to watch this quick video that he posted when he was first announced it.
This one?
Yeah, it's only like 2 minutes.
Okay. Let me know if you have audio. Wait.
Hi, I'm Barry Rosen, a survivor of the Iran hostage crisis, and this week marks the 41st anniversary of my release from captivity. But the hostage crisis hasn't ended for many others, Americans and Westerners, who are now being held as bargaining chips in Iran. There are at least 24 of them. It's clear to me that the release of the hostages can only take place if the United States and countries like the United States pressure Iran. To that end, I am traveling to Vienna, Austria this Tuesday, where the U.S. and its allies are holding negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. And there in Vienna, I will be staging my hunger strike. Now, my message is simple. No deal with Iran unless the hostages are free. And this message is a message I will deliver both to the Iranian and to the American delegations in Vienna. Yes, I will be speaking truth to Iran. And yes, while I am nervous about my health at this age, I think what I'm doing is the right thing for the hostages and their family. So while I'm in Vienna on my hunger strike, I'm going to post videos. I would like your support for the hostages and their families. I'd like you to go to #FreeTheHostages. The more voices we have, the stronger we'll get. Let's go and free them now. Thank you very, very much.
So I wanted to cover this news because I've been following what his activity on Twitter. You can follow him at brosen1501 if you want to check out what he's up to, because he like instantly just became like a hero and role model for me. I think he gets a lot more attention on this issue because it's him. He's a former hostage taking up this mantle, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends from Iran about this and what he's doing, and it means a lot to them. And I think he's really admirable. He just seems like a sweetheart. He's very soft spoken. He was very effective in meeting with very high level government officials to talk about this issue. And on the shortly after he ended his hunger strike, the U.S. Special Envoy to Iran basically said that it's unlikely that they will reach a nuclear agreement without the release specifically of the U.S. hostages. And there's been communication to Barry from current hostages about how much they appreciate him. And it was only partially because his family and also the family of current hostages were so worried about him because he's 77 years old doing this that he agreed to stop. So I was watching videos that he's posted on his flight back to the United States from Austria, and you can tell like how exhausted he was and the effect this had on his body. And it's so sweet. He was like, I had to end my hunger strike, but I haven't forgotten you guys, and I'm not going to forget you guys. So please keep following this issue. Use hashtag free the hostages, and we need to demand the release of these people. So I wanted to highlight him because I think he's doing something really amazing.
Yeah, I saw Robert Mueller, which is like the lead guy when it comes to the negotiations from the U.S. side, from Iran, with negotiations with Iran. I saw him announcing, like, this is what I saw, right? I don't know if it was response to this. I think it was in response to that,
It
to the
was.
hunger strike.
Look
Yeah,
at
so
the report from Al Jazeera. He's sitting next to Barry Rosen at the table.
Right. So this guy had a huge, because Robert Mueller is the lead negotiator of the just the to of the deal, the nuclear deal with Iran, and he came out and said U.S. unlikely to return to JCPOA while Iran holds American hostages. So this man had a huge impact. Like, you can't get higher than this when it comes to the negotiations with Iran, guys. We're talking about a theocracy getting access to nuclear weapons or not, right? And this man, with one hunger strike, had already had an influence in the direction of the talks. And actually, I saw also a response from Raisi's administration spokesperson coming, responding to this and saying that we would be open to talking about prisoner exchange or stuff like that, right? So they also responded that given, but they also were complaining about that this can be part of the negotiations, but they also responded that they might respond to that. They might, like, if that becomes a condition, which makes a lot of hardliners in Iran angry, because Raisi's administration is becoming softer and softer when it comes to the demands as they go on. And this is a major complaint that hardliners had about Rouhani's administration. And Khamenei just recently came out and said, like, hey, if we negotiate with our enemies, that doesn't mean we're weak or something. And people felt like that, I think that was like a green light with Khamenei, because he had himself had said that there is no negotiation with the enemy, right? That's why there's no direct talks between Iran and the United States. The Iranian negotiators and the Americans are never seen in the same room together. The Americans always have to be in a different hotel, because Khamenei declared that, right? And then Khamenei, apparently saying that the deal is not going anywhere right now, came out and said that, guys, we're not pathetically weak. If we actually, like, sometimes you need to talk to your enemies. And a lot of people saw that as a major green light that Khamenei sends indirectly to the negotiators. And the foreign minister of Iran just recently came out and said, like, we're open to directly talking to Americans if that's what's necessarily needed to get the deal done. And a lot of hardliners are losing their mind over this. Like, the hardliner newspapers came out like, what are you talking about? We were so anti-Rouhani's administration because of the way you guys are talking. Like, this is why we elected you, because you were supposed to be tougher against Americans, right? So this is becoming a major, like, internal fight within the hardliners in Iran right now, right? But people are like, but Khamenei is us. He gave us the green light, like, like he gave us. So it's we'll see. They're desperate, like, they're desperate. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, that was very interesting. I didn't know these two things were related. I saw them separately, and now I see that they have something to do with each other. Amazing. This guy is like this guy just single-handedly just changed the direction of the negotiations just with like a few days of hunger strikes.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
When the statements from the special envoy Robert Malley are very clear that any negotiations from hostages versus the JCPOA are separate. Like, they repeatedly emphasize that constantly because political reasons. But now they're like, yeah, you got to give us our citizens back before we got to continue. They're like, they're separate, but they're happening in tandem. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, it's not part of a negotiation, but it's hard for us to imagine us having a deal with Iran while they're holding our citizens hostage. But it's not part of the negotiation. So it's kind of like doublespeak. I don't know. But I mean, it does look pathetic. Like, it is pretty pathetic for the United States to be like, yeah, like this country that is basically like, you would think like when a country just takes their citizens hostage willy-nilly, like some people would see that as a declaration of war.
Or attempting
But-
to kidnap your own citizens on American soil within the contiguous United States.
Exactly. Like some people, like, a lot of people are like, oh, United States is being too aggressive, but they're completely like acting like nothing happened because they don't want to escalate things. But when a country sends somebody on your soil to kidnap one of your citizens, other countries would see that as a declaration of war. But United States, like, shh, like that, nothing happened. we're in the middle of a deal. And then Kyle Klobuchar, like, oh, you guys are being imperialist and being aggressive. Like, you're being passive. They tried to what is this? Like, if you were trying to be like even average, not even aggressive, you would be like, you're forcing us to declare war on you. Like, you're on our soil, kidnapping our citizen. Like, how is this not a declaration of war? I don't understand.
D is saying, here is where we reiterate that one person can make a difference, which I think is a very good point, D.
That's actually a very good point. So, yeah.
And then random Buddhist guy is just saying, eagle screeching intensifies. Of course, all day, every day.
All right.
Oh, and then blank name is saying, what has Kyle said about that? I'm assuming referring to the attempted kidnapping of Missy Elena John. I don't think he said anything about it.
Actually, we don't know, because last time I said he didn't say anything about this. Some people in the live chat pointed out that he actually did. So he might have. So let's be careful with that. So we don't know. All right. All right. So can we clap for the next news? Oh, no. Not very clappable news today. Okay.
It gets better.
Wait, almost clap.
It gets a lot better towards the end.
Okay, good. All right, next news.
Indian Muslim man killed hours after anti-Muslim speech. On January 17th, two Muslim men, Samir Shapur and Shamsir Khan, were brutally attacked in Gadag, Karnataka, India. The men were on their way to a barber shop when they were ambushed by a group of between 10 to 12 Hindu nationalists. The alleged attack came only hours after the accused had delivered anti-Muslim speeches. Members of the Hindu nationalist group Bajrang Dal and RSS had been protesting in front of a local police station in opposition to cases that have been filed against their members related to other recent incidents of communal violence. Both victims were taken to the hospital, but Shahpur did not survive his injuries. 4 people have been arrested in connection to the attack. They have been charged with violating 8 sections of the Indian Penal Code, including rioting with a deadly weapon and murder. On the national level, several prominent Hindu nationalist figures have called for mass violence against the Muslim minority in order to retain a Hindu majority state. Attacks on religious minorities have risen significantly in the state of Karnataka over the past several months. So this is where things get really sad. So I thought this was really interesting, and a ton of people were sending me this story that they wanted us to cover because we've been covering a lot about these incitement to violence and genocidal hate speeches that occurred in December. And a lot of people who are sending this to me are saying, like, look, like we can start to see the effects of this already. So a little bit more background is that in this district, there's been a lot of incidents of like Hindu-Muslim tensions and violence over the past few months in particular. And a lot of them have occur between like college-age students. And so there's been all these kerfuffles, there's been violence, and allegedly, there's footage of this. So members of Bajrang Dal and the RSS were protesting directly in front of the local police station. And in front of the police station, they were making open threats, open anti-Muslim statements. And the police were there. You can see this on camera, and they weren't doing anything about it because that is actually against the law. They were making dehumanizing statements about Muslims that I cannot repeat on YouTube. And they were saying that they, meaning the Hindu nationalists or their vigilante gangs, they are the protectors of the police from these terrorists, and that the police are on their side. All this stuff, and no action was taken against them. And then within a few hours, there was this attack on these two young men who I believe were around the ages of 19 and 20. I saw some reports stating that Samir might have been singled out because they were saying that in these skirmishes between like these college-age students, there was allegedly this incident where Hindu students were planting knives on Muslim students, and that he had photographed this or documented this, and then therefore they were like had it out for him. I don't know how true that is. And then I saw other statements from his family saying he had no idea who these people were, that this was just random, that they decided to attack him. And that there needs to be more done to prevent this kind of thing. So that oxymoron is saying, so basically these fellows were so frustrated over false charges, they showed what a real crime should be. Very sick. You know, that's a good way of putting it.
Do we know, like, I mean, how certain is it possible that this was not religiously motivated? Just to be skeptical.
I've looked into this story, and no one has given me any information about other motives. It's either that or just a random act of severe violence.
Any Hindutva apologists in the live chat want to provide us with the alternative narrative here? No, I didn't say. I'm not saying randomly. I'm just saying like maybe an alternative narrative to what is being discussed. How do we know that the speech was relevant to these attacks that are after? Is it just because they were so proximate? Like, is
that's
that the
part
only
of
reason?
it. Yes, that's a very good point that you're making. Based on and the fact that at least one or two of the four people who have been arrested are actual members of the RSS or Bajrang Dal. I can't remember which, respectively. So
right, so we're just talking likelihood. We don't know for sure, right? Because the correlation.
Yeah, that's every news source is just really highlighting the proximity and how quickly this happened and how quickly it escalated. And I was also reading another report that there is a very interesting probe that was launched over this incident by a lot of academics, and they highlighted how this is just a reflection of months and years of not taking these incidents seriously. So they're basically just kind of allowed to get out of hand. So I want to read more into that probe because it was quite lengthy, but I was able to get into like the past few months that was really digging into this stuff. And it seems like a larger representative of a larger pattern within that area, or a lack of law and order being implemented by the police.
All right, so I asked for alternative narratives. Well, this is not an alternative narrative by Hindu, but I'll read the next comment. So Kiki saying this isn't a random incident, it's very targeted attack. Yeah, but I didn't say it's random, but it could have a different reason other than the person being Muslim, right? So it could be, the reason could be different. And okay, so here's the alternative narrative, just so that we could provide both sides of this, right? Hindutva is saying if the victim is Muslim, it must be religious angle in India as per media. So Hindutva is pointing out that there's a bias in the way these are reported. If the victim is Muslim, it must be religious. However, if the victim is Hindu, then there can be various reasons, as you mentioned in the other case, the other girl. Okay, so Well, at least you can see that here at Atheist Republic, we do consider alternative reasons, right? Like we were. This is how it's being discussed right now in the news, that this person has been a victim of religious hatred. But here we are, considering the alternative explanation that this might be just because it was happened closely after an anti-Muslim speech, and just because some of the people that were responsible for this attack were the same people responsible for this anti-Muslim speech, that doesn't necessarily 100% show that this was a religiously motivated attack. Okay, there is a chance that this was not. Okay, so, and we are highlighting your comment, Hindutva, as a way to make sure that we're not being biased here. I mean, we are biased, but we are transparent with where our bias is, right? We're biased against religion and dogma, but we're not biased against one religion in favor of another, or we're not biased against. We're not trying to like misrepresent what the truth is, right? So that's not the way we're biased. Our bias is for the truth. Yeah, go on.
I do think I try not to be biased towards any religion. I do think I am biased towards protection of minorities.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying we're not biased. I'm just saying the biases that we have, we're transparent about them, right? So we're biased in favor of the truth. We're biased therefore we're biased against religion. And also, yes, we're biased in favor of human rights and protecting minority groups and any other oppressed groups, right?
I think
we are,
when Hindu was saying, oh, if the victim is Hindu, then there can be various reasons, as when we were talking about this alleged forced conversion suicide issue. The difference is that when it came to that case, there were multiple other possible motives that were reported on, that were given to me. So I talked about that. I wanted to be transparent with you guys about those potentialities. But here, thus far, I haven't been given any alternative. Although, like I said, we are being very clear that it's not completely correlative. No, causative.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. We're just like, we don't have the alternative hypotheses because nobody has provided it. But we're not saying just because nobody has provided it, that means that it's impossible for them to exist, right? Yeah. Here, even Bengali Hindu is saying quite probably it was religiously motivated murder. Right. Even Bengali Hindu is saying that. Who's usually disagreeing with us over our biases.
Bengali Hindu is very liberal.
Wait, is this the same? Is Bengali Hindu the liberal Hindu?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so no, Bengali Hindu is pretty good actually. Never mind. I thought why did you remove the liberal part from your name? No, I don't know. I didn't know you're the same that other guy. Right. Okay. Cool. I was confused. Oh, there's another. You want to read this?
Hindu people are quoting this incident with Kishan Barvad murder. He was accused of blasphemy. I'm not familiar with that case. We don't know if that's true.
Yeah. Hindutva is saying, I'm not complaining about you guys. That's how the news outlets here in India spun the news. I mean, you might be correct, but I wouldn't say all of them, because my understanding is that a lot of the media news outlet is pro Hindutva and pro BJP and pro RSS. So maybe you're talking about some news outlets, but not all of them, right?
Well, it's very different. The 24 hours news cycle in India is reportedly extremely dominated with BJP influence. The landscape is different online. There's a lot more independent media and leftist bias there.
So yeah. So yeah, maybe online. If you're talking about the print or what the other one, the Quint, right? Yeah,
the Wire of the News Minute.
Yeah,
well, some of those aren't as biased.
They're more left leaning, right? But if you're talking about the news, you're right. The paper in India and the TV, those are more right leaning, right? But online also, the right leaning people, they have OP India. That's a huge online one, and they have that in their favor, right? So, anyways, all right. Can we clap for the next news?
Yes, because no one died.
Nobody died. How about we say how about we clap like this? No one died.
No one died. I think we're going to have fun with this next news item. Hindu American Foundation opposes anti-caste discrimination policy. On January 21st, the Hindu American Foundation, or HAF, or HAF for short, demanded to remove the recent addition of caste to the California State University, or CSU, anti-discrimination policy. In an open letter signed anonymously by over 80 CSU faculty members, HAF declared that the, quote, new policy would unfairly target a minority community for policing and disparate treatment. The addition of the new policy was partially informed by a survey conducted by the caste-oppressed-led organization Equality Labs. HAF questioned the scientific validity of the survey and deemed Equality Labs as, quote-unquote, anti-Hindu. The HAF and the CSU faculty signatories were met with widespread criticism on social media for their position opposing the new anti-discrimination policy, with many stating that they are effectively whining about being discriminated against for no longer being able to enact discrimination. So I wanted to cover this story. So background, in case you don't remember, last week we talked about in a very historic decision, in a very historic move, the CSU system, which I believe has over 20 campuses and is the largest four-year university system in the United States, voted to add caste as a protected category in their anti-discrimination policy. This was it was a long fight for the people who were pushing for this to get it, and they won this decision. And so then the Hindu American Foundation was one of the organizations that came out in opposition to this policy. And I knew we had to cover this.
I actually like this. I mean, their message is that being anti-caste is anti-Hindu. I agree. I mean, yeah. Anti-Hinduism at least, no, maybe not anti-Hindu, right? So, I mean, it's very telling. It's very telling how much the caste discrimination is based on Hinduism, where you're automatically anti-Hinduism if you're fighting caste discrimination. This is I mean, this is kind of like, I don't know, the KKK coming out and saying like, you know, fighting racism is discrimination against us. And we were like, yeah, true. We agree. I mean, I know that's not how they're framing it.
No,
but did they not see, I know, you know, but do they not see that PR-wise, that's how it come across? Like, you guys are just...
Of course they know that, Armin, because that's why this was signed anonymously.
That's why
they were too cowardly to even stand behind it, put 10 toes down, and say it with their whole chest.
Because they know this comes across as... it looks like, can you just let us be discriminatory? Like, it's in our religion. Like, you're discriminating against us by not letting us discriminate against other people. Yeah, they're calling it. Did you mention? Yeah, they call Kiki is saying now we'll hear cries of Hindu phobia. Right.
Not exactly. I can get into their actual argument about this if we want.
Yeah. Okay. So, but this is very similar to Christians complaining about Christian phobia because we're like fighting homophobia, right? Like, fighting homophobia has been, you know, a lot of Christians complain about this is like us, you know, this is anti-Christian discrimination, right? It's just so similar to that. Like, this is, you know, we are fighting one form of bigotry, and this entire religious institution or organization is now complaining about this is discrimination against them because you're like impeding on their right to discriminate against others. Like, it just sounds so similar to that. What do you think?
Well, yeah, it really does sound like that. I mean, they were getting absolutely roasted on social media. It was quite delightful.
That's fantastic. I love it.
What they're saying is that the positions from the university or the CSU system and the representatives that they talked to were uninformed or had negative and disparaging stereotypes about Hindus or South Asians in general, and that they oppose this policy because they say that this has a disparate and discriminatory impact on the South Asian community specifically, because this is identified as a system coming out of South Asia. And they say that the existing policies that are already on the books at CSU regarding prohibition of discrimination on the basis of origin, nationality, or race should already apply, and they should already be appropriate. And so this addition only serves to target the South Asian community.
Well, I used to agree with that line of reasoning, right? Because I used to think, like, for example, if you have a policy where it specifically tries to mend some of the hurt that Black Americans have faced historically, right, because of the generational poverty of the previous discrimination from, and some current ones, right? I was like, why would you do that? Why can't you just have policies that in general is helping anybody that is suffering from poverty or other forms of hardship, right? And if your race or ethnicity has been hurt by, suffered more from it, well, the policy that doesn't even highlight the ethnicity or the minority group will automatically benefit you more because you have been hurt more by it. So there's no need in the mentioning of Black, or I don't know, whatever minority group that you belong to. There's no need of mentioning that in the policy, especially given that if you mention that in policy, that will cause communities to see each other as enemies even more, right? However, by listening to some arguments I heard, like, symbolically it makes a difference, right? To see, for a community to feel like there's a healing process going on, like for them to be specifically called out as somebody that needs, a wrong has been done against the community that needs to be fixed. It's important to do that, at least symbolically, for the healing process, right? And I think, like, over here also, symbolically, this makes a difference, right? So you could have a general catch-all policy that just bans all forms of discrimination, but I think, like, given how much anti-caste discrimination has been ignored, and how much relative to other forms of discrimination it hasn't been taken seriously, having some serious institutions coming that and highlighting it symbolically, putting that on their books and mentioning it, goes a long way into helping lower caste and outcast people feel like they're now visible, they're being heard, and their cases are being taken seriously, right? You know what I mean? Like, we do have general anti-discrimination policies, but we also have policies in places where you have those policies against, like, highlighting anti-Jewish discrimination, right? Why do we have anti-Jewish discrimination policies, even though other forms of anti-discrimination is supposed to cover that, right? Because we have specifically seen this as such a hot, important issue that we want to, even if it's symbolic, I think there's value in symbolism, right? Symbolism helps you highlight something that needs more attention, right? And I think, like, having this on the books on such important organization goes beyond the effects of it will be felt beyond these organizations. Like, you're worldwide, you're bringing anti-caste discrimination, you're highlighting it, and you're bringing it up front. So that's why I think, like, there's value in having specific policies like this, right? What do you think? You're muted.
I don't think this is symbolic. I think there can be symbolic implications.
That's not what I said. Yes.
I didn't. But I think I am inclined to agree with the people who are in response to the HAF, what they were saying was there's nothing, just how in the United States, sex-based discrimination was in anti-discrimination policies for a very long time. It was still necessary to adopt specific anti-discrimination policies for the protection of people against homophobia and transphobia, even though technically that should be covered under sex-based discrimination. There's still having a policy that addresses it with more specificity and can really name it goes a long ways in ensuring that people can have what the harms that they experience like redressed appropriately. I think it was really interesting to me. First of all, the fact that I feel like they really exposed themselves in their own casteist opinions by calling Equality Labs anti-Hindu. So they're calling a Dalit-led organization anti-Hindu for opposing casteism. Like, I feel like that's such a telling on yourself. Like, I can promise you that there are dozens of people within that organization or who have participated in it who consider themselves Hindu. But
yeah, you're right. It's a
like I was like,
Dalit-led.
what? They're anti-Hindu? Like that is a reflection of something my Dalit friends tell me, is
Wow.
that historically they haven't even been considered fellow Hindus. So I felt like that was a
Wow,
big telling
you're
on
right.
yourself moment.
You're right. It's a Dalit. It's for people who don't know, Dalits are basically the outcasts, and you're accusing of this thing that is being done by your fellow Indians as anti-Hindu. So you're saying that these people are not Hindu or not part of, like, they're being like, so you're shunning them out. Like, you're so, that is so true. You're telling on yourself. But you want to read this tweet because this is very interesting.
Oh, this is a reporter saying, Hindu American Foundation, the advocacy group that filed a lawsuit over my Al Jazeera English story last year, is having a major meltdown and giving legal threats to Cal State for its system-wide ban on caste discrimination.
Yeah, this is a mess. I love how we keep putting Ambedkar that's him, right? In the cover every time we're talking about anti-caste, right? Because we want to show people like this movement against caste discrimination, the greatest force against it has come from India. Okay, this is not an anti-Indian like this anti-Indian like discrimination, like, you know, okay, like this is the symbolism of anti-caste, which was born in India. Okay, so shut the hell up over like this false accusations of like racism.
I think a lot of the criticism by the Hindu American Foundation didn't do a good job addressing how caste is something that it pervades so much more than just Hindu society. It pervades all religious communities coming out of the Indian subcontinent. So trying to frame it, trying to take advantage of the fact of like claiming that you're being Hindu phobic or against Hindus by opposing this form of discrimination, I think is a real disservice to the millions of other people who experience who aren't Hindu. I feel like that's a weaponizing of being Hindu, or a Hindu identity, I mean. And I think one thing I do find interesting is that they had major criticisms of the data coming from Equality Labs, and they pointed towards a study that was conducted by Carnegie Mellon, and I believe also had some affiliation with the UPenn, where they dissected the information, the data from Equality Labs, and had major criticisms of the way that they conducted their surveys and the problems with their data, which I didn't have time to read the full report, but that is something I really want to look into, because I do think that there are very legitimate criticisms about the conclusions that Equality Labs is reaching. But I also had criticisms, and there were also seeming failures within the data from this new report itself. In general, it's an area that needs much further examination in American society. There's not a lot of research on it done lately. So,
Okay. By the way, I don't think it was fair that right after I said the symbolism matters here, that you told me that this is not just symbolism. I wasn't suggesting that this is just symbolism.
I didn't understand you at first. I get it now.
No, I did. Yeah, I was saying that the symbolism matters. Like, that's why I see the positive effect of the symbolism here. I wasn't saying that this policy is not going to have any other influence, right? But what is this? Did you highlight this one?
Oh yeah, so Selva Kumar is saying butthurt non-resident Indians are incoming. So I think that's one thing that's really interesting to dissect. And it's a dynamic that I'm still learning to understand, but the contention between how people who actually live in India, were born and raised there, react to issues surrounding their identity is very different than how Indian Americans react to situations. It's a very interesting contention, and also oftentimes there's a lot of disagreement about these issues and experiences that I find really interesting to examine.
We have a comment on
thank you.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn comment. That's fantastic.
Christina
What
is
is it?
saying, Susanna is great. I'll look into the data criticism you're mentioning. Oh,
No.
well, thank you.
Thank you. Guys, we're also live on LinkedIn. Look at that. We got LinkedIn comments. You highlighted this one. You wanted to. Why did you highlight this one?
Oh, this actually was a point that I went on to make. Bengali Hindu is saying, basically, Westerners are weaponizing caste against Hindu Americans. Caste exists in other religions, but they are targeting the Hindu community only. Well, this specific policy doesn't mention religion. It was kind of the Hindu American Foundation that brought religion into it.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that telling how? Okay, so other religions also have caste system. Okay, but the main religion that has caste system and uses the caste discrimination is Hinduism, and it's telling how you just have an anti-caste discrimination policy, and the religion that is like feels offended by it is like is the Hindu American Foundation. Like, why are you specifically offended by it? Like, I think they're telling on themselves. Like, so because the anti-caste discrimination policy is just like anti-caste discrimination in general, right? But yeah, this one.
Kiki is saying they talked about racial and ethnic profiling, and that's what they've been doing for millennia.
Yeah, this is old.
Yeah, I'm not gonna paint everyone who opposes this policy with that.
Yeah,
I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, that's collective. You can't hold people today responsible for the crimes of their ancestor, right? But yeah. So I don't understand this one. Hindutva is saying, what is he saying?
This is just a complaint about the reservation system within legislative assembly politics.
But it's not relevant to this news.
Yeah,
right?
it's a little niche for this topic. Who cares is saying discrimination is wrong unless our religion allows it. Same story for Islam, Christianity, Jews, etc.
True. And we got a Twitch comment. We have to highlight the Twitch comments.
Yeah, Forever Stormy is saying vast majority of Hindus abroad are upper castes and they go there and pretend there's no caste. Yeah, no, that's just statistically true that most who actually come to North America are upper caste because they have more opportunity
to leave. Yeah, and also, is this true?
Upper caste Satish Singh is saying upper caste Hindus is a powerful lobby in the USA. In the past, Labour Party in the UK tried to pass anti-caste laws, but they failed. Oh, I'm not familiar with that. I did read a piece that I couldn't finish because it would have taken me like over 40 minutes to read the whole thing, but it was dissecting the Hindu American Foundation for how much they tried to obfuscate the existence of caste, how they're just criticizing an organization up front for being upper caste led is not something I'm really inclined to put a lot of credence to. I don't like the way that's painted. It's like, oh, you're led by upper castes, you must be bad. I don't like that. But they're talking about how in textbooks, the Hindu American Foundation was trying to get the word Dalit removed from textbooks, trying to erase the anti-caste teachings of Guru Nanak to fuel their narrative that caste was something established by the British, and a lot of scathing criticism. So it did lead me to feel like there is a little bit of a problem going on there.
Yeah, but we have to be careful not to do upper caste discrimination in response to anti-caste discrimination.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, I mean, I'm confirming that that's a good point. Like, so make sure, like, in our fight, in our attempt to fight, like, anti-Dalit discrimination, we're not holding every single upper caste member. Like, there are a whole bunch of upper caste people who are like fighting all of this nonsense as well, right? So yeah, we shouldn't, it would be reverse anti-caste discrimination. Like,
In fact, this article was sent to me by one of my based upper caste friends.
right. Yeah. Are
I'm
we
kidding.
participating? Are we participating in caste? Like, we don't want equality between castes. Okay, we want the abolishment of caste. Okay, so like this whole idea of referring to people as upper caste or lower caste and outcaste, every time I like do it, like I feel like are we participating in this, like in this categorization? Like, what the hell does it mean for you to be upper caste? You know what I mean? So yeah, we do, like, we have to like clarify, we're not trying to promote equality between castes and outcasts. Okay, the whole caste system should just be abolished. Like, it shouldn't even exist. Yeah, this is interesting.
Kiki is saying Hindutva opposes including caste in anti-discrimination clause. Also Hindutva, the caste system was introduced by the British. Well,
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think that HAF is like equivalent to Hindutva. I don't haven't based on what I've read, I don't think they're equivalent. Or maybe.
But what do you think about this? Like, this is so guys, this is why I'm telling you, anybody who tells you that, Armin, why are you talking about Hinduism, you're not from India, the response is like, I know more than most Indians. Okay, me and Susanna know more than most Hindus and more Indians, because look at the claim that comes out of the Hindu community and of India is that the caste system was introduced by the British. Okay, no, it wasn't. Okay, this is like, I know your ancient scripture more than you do if you claim that. Okay, there's nothing more Hindu than the caste system. Okay, if there's anything that is a Hindu, okay, is the caste system. Everything else is like one sect of, like, there are parts of Hinduism agrees with it and parts of it doesn't. This is one of the most ancient parts of Hinduism. So it's completely ridiculous for anybody who's telling you that the caste system is not based on Hinduism is either lying to you or completely ignorant about anything Hinduism related. And you could completely dismiss any of their other claims. And yeah, somebody say, yeah, everything was done by the British. Everything bad in India basically happened because of the British and the Muslim Empire, and everything good in India is because of Hinduism. That's just like how it works. And you highlighted this one?
Well, to be fair, I think every bad border was drawn by the British. So I'm kidding.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
No. Well, I didn't. Yeah, just because I'm saying everything bad didn't happen because of the British, that doesn't mean that I'm not saying that the British didn't do anything wrong. They did a lot of things wrong, including the way they draw borders. Like, obviously.
I think I posted in the Atheist Republic International group one time, something along the lines of like, did the British ever create one good border? And everyone was like, no. Forever
every time you see a straight line, every time you see a straight line going for a long time, right, without people like, the British drew this, like how little thought it was put into borders when you see it going just straight for a very, very long time. Like, it's so lazy. But yeah,
just cut it here, it's fine. Forever Stormy is saying, I think we should give Susanna an honorary doctorate for all the research she does. Well, thank you. I think obviously I have my own bias, and sometimes I might be mistaken, or some things I might get things wrong, but I hope it's clear to everyone that I do make a very earnest effort to come with as the best information as possible.
You did a great job. Yeah. I'm glad people are recognizing it.
Thank you.
This is funny. I don't know if people know the reference. Do you know the reference? So Doorknob is saying, what did the British ever done for us? Do you know the reference?
I don't actually.
This is Monty Python.
Wait, I was a Monty Python geek. What is this from The Life of Brian?
Yeah.
I was never allowed to watch The Life of Brian because I was raised Catholic, obviously. That's way too blasphemous.
Yeah.
I should watch it now, though.
Okay. Yeah, watch that. That's funny. It's a funny reference. Cool. So We should go to the next news. If you see anything in the live chat while I get the next news, feel free to highlight it. Ooh, this one is too bright. Let me darken.
No, we've been having a lot of really interesting conversations going on in the live chat. So I appreciate everyone. You know, people, they come with a lot of opinions. Some of them are not good, but a lot of people actually like have like pretty thoughtful takes on things.
Mm-hmm. All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
Okay, the next one is involves NFTs. So let's see that. Okay,
So
go.
this is your time to shine.
No. Next news.
Next news. David Silverman tries to sell NFT of a meme he doesn't own. On December 27th, 2021, David Silverman, former president of the American Atheists, listed a NFT of the popular meme of a drawing of himself via the OpenSea marketplace. The meme, known as the Seriously face, was created by Reddit user at where_God_now after Silverman appeared on Fox News's The O'Reilly Factor in 2011 to discuss American atheists' provocative billboards. The meme has gathered enormous popularity over the years. Silverman's decision to list the meme on the NFT market is being questioned as he didn't create the meme and is not the rightful copyright owner. The NFT was listed at a starting bid of, I think it was 2 Way or W Ether. Anyways, equivalent to an approximately $6,677. However, once the original owner, the original Reddit user who created this meme, contacted OpenSea and confirmed that the meme is copyrighted, the listing was taken down before any bidding took place. Unfortunately, Silverman's ethics are being questioned since he attempted to profit off the intellectual property that was not his own.
Did he explain why he was doing this? Like, you can't just sell someone else's art like that. By the way, kudos to Hemed Mehta because he hunted down the artists. Like, he went and found the artist and to ask him or her or they. I don't know. I'm just gonna assume.
The original creator is a man.
Okay, he just this is this is okay. This is why we need him at Meta. Who else is going out and just like directly talking to people and trying to figure out what's going on? This is pretty bad.
Well, that's what I was joking to you about. I was like,
yeah,
man, Hemet stays on Silverman's ass. like, God damn.
But did he give an explanation for what the hell were you thinking?
Not that I'm aware of.
Like, he has no response over this? He has like no. I mean, he must. Wait,
can we really quickly watch?
Oh, here.
No, that was when he listed it, though.
Dude, you don't own the art. What are you doing? Okay, what do you want to watch?
I want to watch the original. What caused this?
This?
No, not the full thing. Can we just watch his original reaction? Because I was revisiting today and it made me laugh so hard.
Okay. I might get like is Fox News?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Skip to like the 1 minute 45 second mark.
1 minute. Here.
Your knees and you pray to an invisible man in the sky.
Invisible man in the
think
sky.
That's a scam?
No, I don't.
You know, and I'll tell you why. A man that was built by a man.
I'll tell you why it's not a scam, in my opinion. All right. Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never a miscommunication. You can't explain that. You can explain why the tide goes in.
Tide goes in.
Tide goes in, and it goes out, Mr. Silverman.
Maybe
it always
it's
comes
Thor
in
on top of Mount Olympus, who's making the tides go in and out.
Oh my God, those are better days. Those were times where everything made sense, and
simpler times,
and
Oh my God.
But now we have David Silverman like selling this art that you didn't make. I mean, it's guys. By the way, if we sell NFTs, it's going to be our NFTs that we own. Okay, it's going to be if you go to OpenSeas and try to get the blasphemous art that we have, we own the art. Okay, so we're not going to sell someone else's art. Okay, so don't worry about. By the way, I'm thinking of like, because NFTs like seem to have NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain, they're not very good for the environment, right? So I'm thinking if we ever mint more NFTs, we do it on the Polygon blockchain, which is a layer 2 NFT, which is, instead of like the model that blockchain has, is proof of stake instead of proof of work. And Ethereum eventually is going to go also on proof of stake, which means that it's not going to have the environmental impact of the like on the same as the NFTs that are on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So I'm looking into like minting NFTs on the. So the good thing about OpenSea is that it does offer you both Polygon and Ethereum blockchain NFTs, and I think like it's more environmentally friendly if we do it then, and the gas fees are lower as well. By the way, kudos to OpenSeas into responding so fast in like removing any art that is, because I heard like some bad stories about so much art by artists just being minted as NFTs without the artist ever getting any caught or knowing about it. But OpenSea seems to be like a lot more responsive recently to copyright violations, and this is maybe like this goes against the whole narrative of, I don't know, like I have to think about this, because like maybe some level of centralization is a good thing, because if it was OpenSea is somewhat centralized, you have like a centralized authority that looks into what's being listed on their platform. If it's completely decentralized, then who do you even complain to if you're stealing the artist's art, right? So because the whole narrative of why the blockchain is good is the idea of everything being decentralized, but you can see the utility of some form of centralization with OpenSeas, right? Like if this was listed on another completely decentralized marketplace of NFTs, then there's nobody to complain to. There's nobody. It would be impossible to unlist it, right? So I don't know. Like we have to think about the utility of centralization to some extent. Maybe like we shouldn't get rid of all of it.
Well, I think there is a huge utility to some degree of centralization, especially when it comes to the area of a nation state. It's very important that a nation has some central and strong federal body to be able to coordinate different aspects of it, as well as update its technologies effectively and consistently. I watched a very interesting video about how different civilizations greatly succeeded at this, where other civilizations, because of different societal factors and constructions, failed to do this, and that made them vulnerable to invasion, vulnerable to being colonized, which is a different direction than NFTs. But I think that was something that made me appreciate the benefits of a strong federal government in a way I hadn't before. Yeah. Obviously not overreaching.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people think like blockchain technology is going to come and replace everything. I think if there's any benefit to blockchain technology is how it will work in parallel to the things that we already have. It's not supposed, not as in like a lot of people are like hoping that it will just come and just like, you know, the internet, for example, didn't completely replace all the structures that we had in place. It just came out next to it and made it like, for example, you know, like stores are still a thing, right? Like physical stores are a thing, but they also have websites now, right? So I think like people who are hoping that blockchain is just going to come and just flatten all form of structure and just remove all form of governance and all form of hierarchy and all the entire banking system. Yeah, I think it's just going to, I think just like the internet, when it came and it was, there was a lot of cringe, right? And there was a lot of things got overhyped, and then it created a bubble, and then the bubble burst. But then internet didn't go away. It found its use case, and then eventually it went overhyped, and then people thought it was a fad and just like give up on it. But then it came back up, and it eventually found its legit use case, right? And I think with the blockchain, we're going to have a lot of cringe, we're going to have a lot of hype, and there's going to be a lot of bubbles bursting and a lot of people completely giving up on it, and then eventually we'll find its actual use case in the middle, right? Where that's going to be and what the use case is going to be. Like I think a lot of people are trying to guess that, but like I think both people who are completely dismissive of this technology and people who are thinking that this is like everything now, right? I think both of them are exaggerating. I think it's impossible to think that blockchain will not have any legitimate use case, and it's also unimaginable to think like that blockchain is just going to replace everything: governments, banks, laws, every education. Everything is going to be all. There's going to be no form of fiat currencies. Everything will be completely replaced. That's also an exaggeration, right? So yeah, but I do think like it's for the people like we have like experimented with NFTs as well, and I think like we should just do it if we want to like play around with it and see what we can do with it. We have to make sure, because it's a new territory and it's unregulated, and it's possible for us to like I want to make sure that we do it in an ethical, moral way if we ever do play around with it, because it's possible for people to do harm even if they're not intending to do it, because it's such a wild west right now. So I think like if we ever do more, like right now we have like minted a couple of NFTs, right? Nothing more, but if we do want to try to do more, we have to like discuss it with our community so that people could criticize us here live on air, just so that we could notice if we were doing something wrong. But yeah, go on.
Well, for the NFTs we've already minted, we can promise to donate a portion of the profits to that organization that's like carbon offset, where you like that's one way to reduce the harm.
That's one way to reduce harm. But going forward, we only like, I think the only way that we're gonna mint anything on the Ethereum blockchain has to be once the Ethereum blockchain moves to proof of stake. Okay, but before that, I think we should mint everything only on the Polygon blockchain if we stay with OpenSeas, just to make sure that we don't have the carbon footprint of any proof of work model, right? So yeah, but Ego is saying that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's very easy. These organizations make it easy to offset your carbon footprint. Secular Rarity is saying, "Oh, it's true, Armin. There is a crap ton of NFTs using art or even artists' images without permission. Yeah, it's a huge problem."
And also, by the way, in response to this, some people are criticizing the artists and telling them like, "Well, it's your fault. You should have minted your art as an NFT already." I mean, like that, and people are like, anybody that is not getting involved in this whole NFT world, a lot of people that are involved, they're blaming them. They're like, "Oh, you're missing out on all this potential." You know what? Like some artists might not even want the potential. Maybe they're just in it for the art. Like, who are you to tell them that they have to mint every? Like, it's such an unreasonable expectation, even before the NFTs, right? Like, the artists are supposed to like put an art out there, and they're supposed to go police the entire internet for anybody who's misusing their art. Like there needs to be better ways to protect the artist, right? And some people suggested that NFTs are a way to protect the artist, but now it seems like it's not doing that. It seems to be doing the opposite, right? But yeah.
D is saying, "I still respect American atheists for their lawsuit against church state violations." Of course. Oh my God. Yeah, they do incredible work. Ego is saying, "I would pay top dollar just to commission a unique piece from one of your artists, NFT or not." Well, you can email me at Susanna@atheistrepublic.com, and I can help you out with that.
That's good. All right. I like how artists are taking more, like there's a lot more demand for artists. So like artists are making good money right now. So that's a good thing.
And Emmett is saying, "Dave was better before the alt-right nonsense got in his head." I don't think he's fully alt-right now.
He voted for
make
Trump.
that contention.
I would say that makes you.
No, he didn't.
He did. He did.
In the first election, maybe, but he didn't in the most recent election.
No,
He
I think
didn't.
he did. Okay. All right.
He
So
voted
fine.
for the libertarian candidate, like Joe Jorgensen. I can't remember her full name.
Technically, that's a vote for Trump. If he voted for anybody other than Biden. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into that.
Mehta came on his ass saying the exact same thing in his mentions on Twitter.
Really?
When he posted that. Yeah, I remember that so well.
Yeah, okay. Let's move to the next news. Do you want to add anything before we move on?
No.
Should we do another news item if Dave comes back with a response? We should probably.
Of course. I did a dive through his social media. I didn't see anything. That doesn't mean he didn't, but I haven't found it.
Yeah. All right. So can we clap for the next news?
Yes.
Oh, we can? Okay, great. Next news.
Oh wait, no, sorry.
No.
I was looking at the wrong news.
Okay. We do a 5-second rule, okay? If we do the clap would be canceled if we wait for 5 seconds. 1, 2. Okay. Next news.
Religious divide in Indian state election. Anti-Hindu threats go viral. On January 25th, 2022, a video of Samajwadi Party candidate Adil Chaudhry went viral on Twitter when he was seemed to be stating that Muslims will quote unquote take revenge for crimes committed against them. In the video, he encourages Muslims to rally against the current government in the state of Uttar Pradesh. He continued, quote, "Not a single person will be spared, inshallah." BJP spokesperson Amit Malviya shared the video asking if the SP chief Akhilesh Yadav only nominated candidates who were anti-Hindu goons like Adil Chaudhry. Chaudhry's defenders contend that he was not threatening Hindus, as no specific community was mentioned in his statements. When India Today reached out to Chaudhry for further comment, he stated the video was altered by the BJP in an attempt to attack him. SP spokesperson Vineet Bhatnagar told news outlets the video would be investigated to see if it breached the Election Commission's code of conduct.
Do we have the video? Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, but it's not in English, so people can find it if they want, but I don't think we should show it. Because I can't. Yeah. Anyways, so I thought we should cover this because we have been covering a lot of incitement of violence towards Muslims in India, and this was an incident that was brought to my attention, and it was pretty freaking crazy. When you read his full statements, it's very clear because they've tried to be like, oh, we're not talking about specific communities. But if you read it, it's very clear that he is talking about the Muslim community. Now,
the Hindu community.
No, but I mean, people are trying to say like he's not talking about like communities in general, but he definitely is. Another contention, or the defenders try to say that, oh, he's not talking about violence against people. He's talking about like the party taking power will be revenge against the current ruling party of Uttar Pradesh, which is obviously the BJP, led by Yogi Adityanath. And really just trying to, he's trying to garner support for the oppressed minorities. He's in taking revenge by gaining power in the government. It's not like a personal thing.
What did he say specifically? What was his words?
Let me find the source that I found.
I'm gonna play the video, not without the audio, just to see if he says the video was altered. Like, was there any cuts in the video? Hold on, I'm gonna mute it. Because he said the video was altered.
Well, it's only 30 seconds of the video, so he's probably saying that it didn't include his whole comments.
Okay, but that's not the same as saying it was altered. Like, if you could say it was taken out of context, but altered means that, like, okay, there's no cuts in the video. Yeah, there's no cuts in the video, so it wasn't altered. So he should have been like, if he wanted to make a claim, he should have said it was taken out of context, not altered. Yeah, this video was not altered.
So here are some of his comments. Our government will be formed in Uttar Pradesh. We will not spare them. Quote, you all remain tension free. Our government will be formed in Uttar Pradesh. Inshallah, we will not spare them. The way they are carrying out these crimes against us, we will take revenge against all these moves. They, meaning the opposition, will realize their mistakes. They will then think 100 times before harming us. They will fear stepping outside their homes. My brothers, the fight against them is not over yet. And he also was talking about holding the police responsible for like framing people.
Okay, that sounds pretty violent. They will fear
right?
stepping outside of their home. Yeah, that sounds pretty violent to me. Like, how could you make them fear stepping outside of their home without violence? We will not spare any of them.
But he's insisting that he's referring to the current government. But his government is going to, help people not be stressed.
How could you make them fear stepping outside of their home without violence?
Because they'll be prosecuted. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the police can enter your home. This seems like call out for mob justice or something like that.
It's extremely irresponsible language for anyone trying to get elected to office to use.
Yeah, I mean, this is a politician.
In particular.
Like, I mean, if it was like just a random person, you would be like, oh, maybe he didn't know how to speak or something, right? This is like it's either a call for violence or very irresponsible phrasing. It's like the most charitable thing you could say is that it's very irresponsible phrasing. But if it's not that, then it's actually a call out for violence. So, so that's pretty insane. Yeah,
no, not cool. We condemn it. I wanted to cover this because a lot of people, when we're talking about the calls for violence against Muslims in India, a lot of people like to say, well, what about Owasi, who was this other Muslim politician who said some insane stuff? I don't even think I can repeat it. But that happened, I think, last year or even further back. So it was like, well, we cover news that happened in the past week. Like, I'll consider that, but that's, but this came to my attention, and so I thought it was worth highlighting.
This was in Uttar Pradesh?
Mm-hmm.
Do these people not realize, I mean, by these people, I mean politicians, okay? Do these people not realize how, he's, trying to defend Muslims? Does he not know how difficult he's making life for Muslims in India? Do you know how amazing of a fuel this is for the Hindu nationalists in Uttar Pradesh? Do you know how they're going to use you and the words that you spoke as a way to fearmonger and make all the Hindus be like, look, we're not lying to you. This is what their plan is. They're trying to take over this state, right? This is what we're fighting against, right? You're providing exactly everything that these Hindu nationalists need as a way to discriminate against Muslims. So not only is this irresponsible just because it's very discriminatory against Hindus, it's also discriminatory against Muslims because you're just adding fuel to the fire. God damn it, man, these politicians, they're just this is why people don't understand that they're just and the mob that is just takes part in all of this, their lives keep getting worse and worse and worse, while these politicians are just enjoying staying in power because they're using each other's hate they're to make themselves more relevant, right? I don't know how the Muslims and Hindus who are taking part of this collective blaming of each other understand how they're being used and how their lives are going to suffer, and they're not going to pay the price for it. They're just going to get votes out of all of this hate, and your life is going to be, you think you're defending your motherland or Mother India or whatever, or the Ummah, or you thinking you're defending the glory of Islam or stuff. You're just making each other's lives worse. This should be seen as politicians versus both Hindus and Muslims rather than Muslims versus Hindus kind of thing. That's how you should see it. Muslims and Hindu individuals should be like, okay, we're on the same side of this. The politicians are actually using us against each other for their own benefit. So you should see the divide in the people against these politicians. Not all of them, but some of these politicians. But yeah,
I think, a lot of these politicians actually do know that, but they just use this because it's the most politically expedient.
So
Unfortunately.
yeah, I hope, if Muslims and Hindus in India could see that, then they would actually unite with each other against all of this hate mongering. You know what I mean? They were like, we're being used for something else. God damn it. We're not we shouldn't actually be
Israelis and Palestinians,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
This is a global problem.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, great example. Great example. Anything you want to highlight in the live chat before we
No, just gossip's going off in the live chat. It's hilarious.
yeah. 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 All right, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Next news.
No Hijab Day fights the whitewashing of religious veiling. February 1st marks No Hijab Day, which aims to raise awareness about the millions of women who are not able to choose to remove the religiously mandated garment. The day was intentionally set on the same day as World Hijab Day, which was created to promote and spread acceptance of religious veiling in society. According to reformist Muslims Asra Nomani and Majid Nawaz, World Hijab Day is a conservative campaign that feeds the idea that hijabs are always worn voluntarily. Masih Alinejad, an Iranian American journalist, sees the purpose behind No Hijab Day as personal. In a video she posted to Twitter, she says, quote, "In Iran, I was told if I take off my hijab, I will be hanged by God." Yasmin Mohammed, a Canadian human rights activist, shared that she was forced to wear the hijab from the age of 9 and threatened with death if she removed it. She acknowledged that most Muslim women simply cannot speak out against it without facing dangerous, if not life-threatening, consequences. On February 1st, you can show your support for those who fight for the freedom to remove hijab by posting on social media about the campaign and using the hashtag #NoHijabDay.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Was this started by Yasmin Mohammed? This whole movement? Or was it?
I think her and a few other people, yeah, but she is one of the most prominent people behind it for certain.
That's fantastic. I like this image that she posted.
Yes. And so if you want to support No Hijab Day, one of the symbols that they use is a dove with the scarf.
Nice. Just to be clear, No Hijab Day means the freedom to have no hijab, right? It's not promoting the idea that it's not like forced. It's not saying that you shouldn't have. I mean, we are anti-hijab because hijab is modesty culture, right? And modesty culture is rape culture. We are against it, but I think what we're promoting here is for people to be, again, here's another hashtag, free from hijab, right? So it's not like the idea of like forced not to wear the hijab. Obviously, we're not doing that. We're just basically people should be able to be able to be free from wearing a hijab. Susan's not here. Is this our Dolly? So when she comes back, I want to figure this out. Is this our Dolly? Dolly, are you here in the live chat? Is this our Dolly? Because she got like 690 likes. That's amazing. Okay, let me see if when Susanna comes. Let's watch this video while we wait for Susanna. Tell me if
this is what Islamic Republic wants me to be. This is what Taliban and ISIS wants us to be. And this is my true self. In Iran, I was told if I take off my hijab, I will be hanged with my hair by God. I'll get kicked out from school. I'll get lashes. I'll get jailed. I'll get fined. I get beaten up in the street every day by morality police. If I get raped, it's my fault. If I take off my hijab, I won't be able to exist as a woman in my homeland. In the West, I am told if I share my stories, then I will cause Islamophobia. I am a woman from the Middle East, and I am scared of Islamic laws. I am scared of all the brutalities that I have experienced. Phobia is an irrational fear, but my fear and the fear of millions of other women who lived under Sharia law in the Middle East is rational. So let us talk.
Okay, that's fantastic.
To answer your question, yes, that is our Dolly.
This is Dolly? Is this in Arabic or in English?
It's in English. She got like almost 10,000 views on this.
This is amazing. Okay, so let's watch our own Dolly's video as well. Guys, Dolly is like the moderator and the host and the manager and everything of Atheist Republic's YouTube's Arabic channel, which is called Jumhuriyatul El-Had. So if anybody who speaks Arabic want to search for that, right? And we should have provided a link in the description. We're gonna have to add those links eventually. It is on our homepage of our YouTube channel on the recommended channel section, so you could find that as well. And let's see what Dolly has to say.
A rape culture. I'm taking off and I'm saying that's enough. My body is not aura. My voice is not aura. My hair is not aura to cover it up. And if a man told you before Islam honored you as a woman by covering you up, just tell him maybe Islam will honor you as a man in the next time, but you cover up this time. No hijab day, because hijab is a rape culture and I never choose to wear it. It's not a choice, will never be a choice. Take it off, be free, be who you are.
Wow, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was making the rounds on Twitter. I was like, look at you, girl. Yes.
that's our Dolly. That's amazing. Oh yeah, actually, this is the name of the Arabic channel for anybody who wants to search for it. Jumhuriyat. Okay, my Arabic is not very good. Jumhuriyat al-Hadia. No, it's Arabic. I can't say H. I have to say Hadia. Okay, so I have to say it properly.
You sound like me when I try to speak Farsi. Like it just get like.
No, the Arabic language has different kinds of H sounds. Okay, so it can't be. There's the normal H, and then there's. Okay, so it's so bizarre. All right, yeah, but that's our Dolly. Fantastic. Okay, I'm so proud.
So guys, today is the 29th. So in 3 days, it will be February 1st, and that is officially No Hijab Day. So I would encourage people to share their support for the movement on Twitter, Facebook, social medias, wherever where you hashtag No Hijab Day, hashtag Free from Hijab, and show your support. It definitely means a lot to the women who had to fight really hard to be able to choose what they wear. And yeah. And one motto of the movement that I really like, that it's like, I support your freedom to wear it as long as you support my freedom to remove it. And I think that really encapsulates a lot of the attitude, because it's about choice.
Yes. Hindutva is saying, but the forced converts of India say that hijab is our culture and we are proud of it. Okay, so when people say hijab is forced, I mean, there are some people who wear the hijab by choice, but most of it is forced, even if they say it's by choice. If it's brainwashed since childhood, that's technically a form of forced, right? I mean, there are rare cases where somebody is a adult convert to Islam, and they're choosing it as an adult. In those rare cases, then hijab is actually a choice, right? But if you grew up, if you were brainwashed as a child into the hijab, then technically it's not by choice, right? But I'm against the hijab even in rare cases where it's by choice, right? Because even in the cases that hijab is chosen, like as an adult, and you were not brainwashed as a child, even in those cases, what hijab represents is modesty culture, and modesty culture is rape culture. So I'm still against it, even if it's by choice. However, when I say I'm against it, I'm for your freedom to be able to wear it while being against it at the same time. In the same way that, like I am for someone's freedom to be able to wear the KKK costume while I'm against the KKK costume at the same time. So those are not mutually exclusive. But what you were saying?
Yeah, I think even adults who choose to wear it themselves, I think the idea of wearing hijab as choice in general is almost not reality, because it is religiously prescribed. It is a religious obligation. There are severe punishments. I mean, if you believe in that belief system, of eternal torture for failures to do it properly. And so how do you, if you believe in that system, how do you have a choice?
Yeah, that's another good point. If you believe that you're going to go burn for it if you don't wear it, technically it's not really a choice.
But what I do find really interesting is there are a lot of women who wear the hijab as a symbol of political and cultural identity, and that's very different. And I do think that is I disagree with it, because I still don't like the symbolism behind it. I think there is a lot more choice involved with that. There are Muslim women who didn't wear it before, but because of persecution of their Muslim identity, they chose to wear it in defiance, which is interesting.
There's some forms of hijab that I actually support even. And that's a form of hijab that is meant to be fighting stereotypes, right? Like you're actually not wearing the hijab to confirm, but you're wearing the hijab as a way to oppose kind of the hijab, right? Like, for example, when people wear the hijab in a way that is meant to be controversial. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not, you can see that
I've
they're not
seen
fitting
hijabis in latex cat suits, like that kind of thing.
Exactly. That kind of thing, right? So that's technically hijab, but that's not really giving into the modesty culture. You're actually like rocking the boat. You're actually are rebelling against the hijab.
Well, you're wearing a headscarf, but it's not hijab.
I mean, they still call it a hijab as a way to rebel. You know what I mean? Or like we recently covered the news where men were wearing the hijab as a fashion statement, right? That pisses a lot of people off, and we like that. Right? So if you are like taking the hijab and rebranding it and turning it on its head and turning it into a form of rebellion, and not only not giving into the modesty culture, but fighting against the modesty culture while doing it, that's a very rare case use of hijab that I'm in complete support of, right? So that's the only way. Anyways, can we clap for the next news?
Yes, we can.
Let's do the next two news fast, because I'm supposed to go in 3 minutes.
Well, not the last news.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. I'll be late for the. It's fine. The last news is actually very for okay. Next news.
Children's Rights International Day of Protest Against Hereditary Religion. On January 29th, 2022, that's today, advocates worldwide are holding the 11th annual International Day of Protest Against Hereditary Religion. One of the goals of the protest is to raise awareness about forcing religion on children. End Hereditary Religion, a Facebook page, has spoken out against the practice. Rivka Goldstein, our good friend, one of the protest organizers, spoke to Atheist Republic and said, quote, "These religions are inherent to the family and to the culture where the child belongs." The annual protest, which began in 2010, is gaining traction within atheist communities. The parental obligation to indoctrinate children remains an overwhelming tendency in many families. There may be forms of indoctrination that are harmless, but telling a child that they will burn in hell for all eternity if they fail to meet the requirements of an imaginary being, or reinforcing religious belief with punishment, is psychologically damaging. To join End Hereditary Religion in the 11th annual International Day of Protest Against Hereditary Religion, you can send a picture of yourself with the graphic provided to their Facebook page. which is just called End Hereditary Religion.
Oh wow, this is fantastic. I didn't know about this. Guys, go check this out and support this. Love it.
Yeah, wait. In Armin, in the list at the top, I left a comment of an image I want to show. It's super cute.
Oh, hold on.
In the Google Doc.
Oh yeah, sorry, I should have noticed this before. Just the image or the video as well?
I don't think we have time for the video.
Okay. There we go. This one.
Yay! So as an example of how you can participate in this event, here is example of our lovely Rivka showing one reason why she opposes hereditary religion, saying it is unethical to use coercion and force to intimidate children into believing religion, and then using the hashtag End Hereditary Religion. So if you guys would like to join, yeah, Kiki is saying Rivka is a shining star. It's so true. If you guys would like to join, I encourage you to check out the End Hereditary Religion Facebook page, where people are sharing videos explaining why they oppose hereditary religion, or you can just show a sign and say what you like. But if you submit it to their Facebook page, they would really love that to show your support. I think it's a really cool movement, and it's something a way of thinking about this I hadn't thought about before.
Okay, then yeah, guys, go check it out and submit your own pictures if you can, if it's safe. And people are saying Rivka rocks, and oh yeah, this one as well. Let me just highlight this one. Yeah, Rivka is awesome.
Nothing but Rivka love.
Yeah. Guys, don't ask personal questions about what why this or that, okay? Because there are sometimes we can't explain things, okay? All right. Can we yes, this is very exciting. I'm so proud of Susanna for this one, okay? So can we clap? Obviously we can. Okay, for the next
You know we can.
Yeah, next news.
Next news. Atheist Republic celebrates its 10-year anniversary. So, technically not yet, but on the 31st, it will be 10 years since Atheist Republic was formally established as a non-for-profit entity in Canada. And to celebrate, I am initiating a campaign that we are going to be doing ongoing throughout this year. Because why celebrate it once when we can celebrate our 10-year anniversary all year? So I'll talk about what I envision for the full year in a second, but let's watch the video first.
Guys, Susanna made this video. She edited it herself, and I watched it, and it was so good. Okay, I'm so proud of her, like for this one. Okay, so watch it with us. Okay, should I just watch it on this
full
page?
Screen?
Make it full screen. Yeah, hold on. I think I have to play it before I can make it full screen. Yeah, hold on. Wait, I think I have to go. Hold on, I think I have to go to YouTube to be able to make it full screen.
We're waiting in anticipation.
Okay, got it. This is so good. This is such a good video. Let me know if you have audio.
Formally established on January 31st, 2012, Atheist Republic has grown from a Facebook page dedicated to giving disbelievers a louder voice to the world's largest community of atheists. What began as a collection of individuals passionate about expressing their atheism grew to become a place where hundreds of thousands of people have gathered together to build like-minded, godless communities. We've established local communities in over 70 countries and over 150 cities around the globe. We've built a platform for atheists to share their voice in English, Farsi, Arabic, Afrikaans, and Tagalog. Our members have truly demonstrated that you don't need God to be a good person by doing everything from helping those living on the street to assisting those who have been displaced by Islamic militants. We've organized international protests in support of atheist prisoners like Sohail Arabi, We've even helped atheists like Rana escape death.
Atheist Republic, it's a website and Facebook and Twitter for non-believer people, for ex-Muslim, ex-Christian, ex-Jewish, any kind of religion.
The Kaaba, the most holiest place, was in the shot.
If 2 million or 3 million Muslims around me, I was really afraid, if any someone know what I am doing here, they will kill me.
But we've faced challenges along the way. Our members have been threatened and attacked by their governments.
A group known as the Atheist Republic Consulate of Kuala Lumpur held their annual meeting and posted a picture of their group, in public calls for attendees to be imprisoned and executed.
We've been harassed and targeted with mass reporting by those who cannot tolerate our dissent from religion. We've been blocked by governments like India and Pakistan, had police reports filed against us for blasphemy, countless legal threats, and even mentioned before the Supreme Court of India. Together, we've shown that atheists are everywhere, from the most dangerous of countries to the holiest of sites. Without you, none of these accomplishments would have been possible. If you would like to join us in celebrating, send us a picture of you with our commemorative fan sign. Share what you love about Atheist Republic or your favorite memories and submit it through our website. Link in the description below.
That was fantastic. That was amazing. Oh, people are saying congratulations in the live chat. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so everything that I tried to encapsulate in that video is really just the tip of the iceberg of everything we've accomplished in the past 10 years. And I want to really highlight everything that we've done in the past 10 years throughout the year. So my plan is that once a month, we will have a little video or another feature that goes into more detail about some of these accomplishments, about some of the work of our community members or incidents that have happened to our organization, so that we can continue to celebrate all these accomplishments. Like I said, why does it have to be once? If you guys would like to participate, a lot of people are very familiar with our fan signs. I made a special fan sign just for our anniversary. And link for this is at the very top of the description of this video. And on the same page is where you submit. What are you doing? On the same webpage where you get this image, you can also submit your own fan sign. So I think it'd be really cool if people wrote what their favorite thing about AR was. So on mine, I say, I love AR for teaching me the value of free expression. Or maybe it's like a favorite memory, like something you did with your local consulate. Or maybe it's one of the local language services that we provide to your native language community, stuff like that. I would love to see and showcase to everyone what you love about our community. Because like I said, Armin and I might be the most prominent faces of AR, but we are not all of AR. AR is hundreds of thousands of people, and AR community worldwide does so much. Accomplishes amazing works, and I want to celebrate everyone for it, because sometimes we don't get the celebration that we deserve, right? And I think it really showcases how much of an incredible community that we have, that we're lucky to have. And like I said, this is a community that just started off as individuals around the world who just happened to like this thing, and it turned into this crazy, huge, vivacious, provocative community. And I think it's really beautiful. So yeah, I'm very excited about our 10 years, and I'm excited to continue to showcase what we've done throughout the years going forward through this year. So every month expect like a little. I'll have a special segment towards the end of every month.
That's
where
great.
we talk about something.
It's a great idea. I love it. I love it. This is why Susanna is the CEO. Like, I would have never thought about doing stuff like this. So thank you so much, Susanna. People are being so lovely in the live chat, by the way. People are saying congratulations, sending us heart. And also Hendutfa, our very own.
Susanna says congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, Armin and Susanna. Oh, this is so great, guys. Even Hendutfa, yeah. I mean, thank you. We should say even Hendutfa. No, we should expect this from Hendutfa, Susanna. Like, she disagrees with us, but she's very supportive, even though she disagrees with us. So that's, we should expect that from Susanna. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the love and support in live chat, guys. We appreciate that. Like Ego saying great work, Susanna. Yeah, some people are saying we should have had a cake. Music guy saying cake is haram though. Yes, and Armin.
Well, it's not our anniversary yet. It's on the 31st, so I can get us a special cake for the 31st.
Yeah, I know. I'm against celebrating with food all the time.
You're like, that's haram.
That's haram. It's haram in my book. Okay.
It is an OMG 10 years of listening to Armin.
I'm sorry.
Can I tell you how much I
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Can I tell you how much I loved collecting all the materials for this video? There's so much I couldn't even include. And I've only been involved with AR for less than 2 years, and I had so many nostalgic feelings of seeing so many people that I'm friends with involved for such a long time, and so many people that mean so much to me, people that I look up to, people who are there for each other through really tough times, supportive, outspoken towards injustice, caring, and with a huge desire to be involved. It's so incredible, and I feel so I don't even know. It's very emotional for me to be entrusted with a community and organization like this. And I was like, this is a good video when I'm getting emotional over my own video. I was like.
Well, I personally think that the second 10 years of Atheist Republic is going to be a lot better than the first 10 years. You know why?
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, because we're gonna have Susanna on the second 10 years. Like, we didn't have Susanna before, so that's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen, right? So yeah, thank you, Susanna. So we're gonna release this video separately on its own soon on the channel, and then maybe we'll make it 2 minute, if it's possible to make a 2-minute version of it for Twitter, and a 1-minute version of it for Instagram as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the plan is to have, for the next 12 months, right, we're going to highlight one story, one thing about Atheist Republic that happened in the past 10 years. Okay, cool.
Every month.
Okay, cool.
And shouts out to Babak. Babak is going to translate this for the Farsi channel as well.
Music guy is saying, oh yeah, we're going to have a Persian version of this. That's fantastic. Maybe we could talk to Dolly about the Arabic version as well.
Maybe.
Let's
I'll
see.
ask.
Okay, music guy, I'm gonna fucking murder you. The problem with cakes is not the fact that it's not veggie, okay? The problem, you could have a completely veggie cake with all the goddamn calories. Sugar, the main problem with cake is the sugar, okay? And that's completely vegetarian. Okay. Anyways, I was triggered. I'm sorry.
I know. Okay. I'm like, we have to end it on that note.
Yes. All right, guys. Where can people submit the pictures?
So so either you can go to the link that is in the very top of this description, and you'll find everything you need there, or you can go to our website, and if you click on news, you will see press releases, and you will see this post pretty easily. So that's the other way to find it.
Okay. But for people who are watching this video, link is in the description, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, we're gonna head out. I'm already late for something else, but this was worth it. This was worth delaying everything else. So thank you again, Susanna.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, bye, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.